Welcome, one and all. Hello, hello. We return once again to Saturday's Ironheart Merchant Company, who hasn't been totally sweating all week after the whole bucket incident on Sunday session. We hope you enjoyed the last session you watched, and we hope you will enjoy this one as we return to session 11, a yeasted result. Um, Clever naming, I know, gentlemen. Last time we left off, the party, for the most part, planned, prepped, and thought, and then executed the Zill subjugation quest. Managing to, after spending half of their resources and a lot of time planning for this quest, the party managed to corner these creatures in a corridor of sorts coming out of the mines, and with the help of a few pitfalls, some lucky rolls, and some very cunning planning, in a very, very sad and upsetting to the party, sentient
Summoned centipede.
summon Centipede's death, the party would manage to succeed in taking down the Zill, gaining a couple of unique items as they did so. The party would, the party would return, dropping off or returning, proving that they had killed the creatures. However, upon doing so, and with the request to have the ship created or have it an added feature to it with a room of preservation in exchange for the quest reward, the party would split up, with Essa going and doing a little bit of shopping on their own to their unfortunate experience where they picked the one shop in the entire town that they so far experienced that was very racist to Dragonborn, or Dragonkin rather. Though, with that being said, the party had managed to return back to the ship, and with a small hiccup of the almost potential loss of BK and the new rumors of the famous dragon lair, Essa has been given the approval of the crew to many surprise at her dominance, and poor James has been looked on as a very whipped captain. Um, yeah.
It was a wrestling match. I lost
Very badly.
You did.
horribly, but I was half asleep in my pajamas.
We returned to the party the next day, having spent the rest of the night kind of resting, recuperating, and thawing out BK. The lot of you kind of getting your full night's rest. Some hoots and hollers from the crew as when you would come up for breakfast. Many mostly clapping towards Essa, and a few just giving a little whipping noise every time James seems to walk by. But otherwise, the crew seems to be in good spirits, and the food set out for the morning up above deck for you lot while the rest of the crew eats below seems to be another helping of fresh sow and bacon.
In my morning prayer, did I notice that there's technically two BKs now?
As
The fake one and the real real one that's chubby.
No, you do not. Your magic, or your concept, or when you go into your prayer, you do not see a vision of anything at this time. As you continue
Well, no,
your prayer in
because
the morning.
after I do my prayer, I go to take care of BK doing the morning brushing and whatnot.
Oh,
That's why I was
You're saying
asking.
that you see two mules.
yes, yeah. As you go down, you do see one that's slightly larger and fluffier, and one that looks to have, and the other that's skinnier though has much duller eyes.
This is... I brush them both out and just go up.
I'm calling this one FK.
FK? What does that stand for?
Why did...
Oh,
I'm
fake.
gonna look at them both. Why
It's
are there
fake.
two mules?
Yeah, it's fake kick.
As you come aboard deck, you see Rolaman and Essa kind of with mugs of coffee, freshly brewed. As the chef kind of smiles as he sets him down, mentioning his local purchases at the black market the other day while you all were gone. Yes, coffee beans. He as he kind of pours you both a cup, setting it aside with the meat, the slabs of meat that have been cooked up. Yeah, as James kind of comes up after brushing out the two mules, seeing the two of you kind of enjoying your coffee as people are starting to wake up amongst the town. You see merchants starting to kind of disembark from their ships as they head back into the market to go about their daily business. A couple of ships starting to come in and a few starting to leave out. It seems to be a pretty quiet and uneventful morning. About mid 60s, and you can hear the rain from the distance of like outside. But of course, you're in the side of a massive mountain. It just sounds like it kind of echoes from the top as it dribbles down.
So again, the two woolly mules.
Ah,
Yeah,
that
BK and
was
FK.
that was a prank played by the person.
Yeah, I would have explained last night, but you were very emotionally discharged. I thought it was better if you slept for a little.
We threw an extra mule in there, and when we were cleaning out to make sure nothing was in there before we started putting new stuff in there, got a new mule out of it. Very humorous.
All right. So we're gonna be doing this a Southern City Guide and Guard.
I mean, now that we have a preservation chamber, we wanted food to sell, so
Yeah, and then we'll be taking off to guide that caravan to Seji's land, to the lands of Seji.
if they still need it. Yep.
Otherwise, we're heading there out of our own accord. We can offload some of the weapons I think that we have here, and see about purchasing some things from there as well.
We should also wait here until the boar gives birth, I believe. Yes.
I don't think that'll be a problem if we do it while we're moving.
Well, I say this because in the Southlands, they like fine cuisine, and I think newly born boars might
They
sell
buy
well.
creatures like these for way more.
That's fair. I can go check and see if I can tell how far along she is.
Is that not my job?
I'm better at heal check.
James,
I'm better
did
with
you
the
sleep well
medicine.
last night?
I slept fine after the events.
Just checking because Essa is the. I mean, you can both do it. Two heads is better than one.
The cook kind of finished pouring a refill of a cup of coffee. Kind of looks,
Have you ever
kind
had
of
this before?
slightly blushes at that mention. Roloman, you would have it would have been rare in the travels, but back in James's hometown, this would have been more common of a drink as it's a bit more local to the continent.
James
awesome
is
to have this.
enjoying this.
How long? It would have been years.
Been a long time since we had this, huh, James?
Oh yes, it's a taste of home.
That's just my coffee.
Anyways,
You don't like coffee?
No,
I've been-
I lived in a
Not for
jungle. I
everybody.
didn't have drink options.
note to self: this gives me an idea for something later. An interesting houseware.
But if James wants to go
let's
check on that, the ship.
Yes, that'll probably be good. If I can't tell, then I'll leave it to you. But still feel like doing something useful after getting my ass handed to me.
You see the cook kind of like whistle at that comment as he starts walking down the stairs, heading back down below.
An honest man he is.
I'm gonna go down and see if I can tell how far along the boar is.
Okay. S, are you joining, or are you gonna stay up on the top deck?
Nope, I'm helping prep the ship.
Okay. All right, James. Yeah, as you head down below deck, you see as the bison still twirling their tails. The couple
I
of
toss them
pig.
each carrot.
All right. Yeah, as you do so, you watch as they kind of seem to lean down and grab it from the ground, not really catching it as it lands. It kind of flops into their little kennel. The area that's been set aside for the pigs, where many of them are still kind of caged up. You see the very large female just sitting there snorting as she seems to breathe in and out. The cage slightly bends with her, but she doesn't seem to move.
Would this be a heal check to
Oh yeah, this would be a heal check.
22?
You're as you kind
Medical
of
knowledge.
as you feel about you're familiar with dwarven how like dwarven births work as you kind of feel the belly of the pig. The cage is slightly in the way and the slight bulging in her belly. These piglets are decent size. As you feel about, you're unsure of a count, maybe 10, maybe 12, could be 15 as you kind of feel about. But as you do, and as you kind of think for a moment, you realize you really don't know much about boar pregnancies, or really anything about boar pregnancies, as these aren't common creatures to your homeland. So as you look at the creature, based on what you know about mules, you'd give this maybe another 3 months. But to be fair, you also know mules only give birth to a single offspring. You're unsure?
Still, I have a better count than I have at least a decent count here.
Mm-hmm.
Of at least 10 to 12 at minimum to 15 at most.
I was like, we already had the count, sadly, of 10 to 12.
Yeah. Given it's mammalian,
Mm-hmm.
gestation periods for mammals don't usually go longer than a year. And if they're that far along, this could be any time in the next 3 months. I grew up on a farm, Royce. I interned on farms as a child. This shit is normal.
Okay. As you look at the hog, kind of eyeing it up and down, realizing this, you go about, you're continuing your day.
I'll let Essa know that that's my best estimate. If she has a better one, then we'll go with that. But
okay. Roll
in the
them
next 3 months.
what are you doing up on the ship deck? Well, James is down below checking on the animals.
People watching for now.
Okay, just kind of watching the merchants going in and out, seeing if anybody catches your eye. As you look about, kind of watching. Are you searching for anything, or just kind of generally people watching to see if anything catches your interest?
People watching, sipping
Okay.
a cup of coffee.
Give me a spot check. Let's see what you get.
Let's see, sport.
Natural 20. Come on, be funny.
No, just because he gets a nat 20 wouldn't mean he sees anything of interest. Because what's interesting to him would be different. As you kind of watch about, you notice as where the portal is, the normal dragonkin that comes down here that usually opens the thing hasn't seemed to come yet, which is kind of strange. As you know, it means that he's late by, you'd roughly guess, about an hour. But as you look over, seeing the portermaster who keeps eyeing up the portal and looking out and at these ships as they come in and go out, he seems to be looking as if look more annoyed, more than nervous, as you kind of eye him up. A few merchants seem to kind of land at the docks. A small little dinghy that's only about that's a single deck ship with a large crate of cargo kind of strapped together, kind of about comes to dock about 3 ships down from you. Their banner looks to be just a golden mug with something like a slightly colored red liquid spilling over. As they kind of come into a landing, it looks like they're ran by a kobold of some sort with kind of ashy looking scales, ashy looking black scales. But as the group kind of unloads, you see a couple of dragonkin that seem to be working the ship. They seem to go into the black market and go into a group of stalls and disappear into the crowd. As you continue kind of watching, nothing else really catches your attention. No familiar faces or anything of the sort, other than, of course, Latch, who you've seen a few times as he's been working around the black market, and as he kind of goes about doing his rounds with the other merchants. Yeah. Anything of that catch your eye that you want to look at more specifically, or are you just going to continue enjoying your coffee?
Enjoying the coffee. A little interested in the portal not being open and the.
Okay.
Is it the actual the portal opener that looks annoyed, or was that someone else?
Oh, Portermaster. The guy Portmaster. So he's the guy who runs the port. It looks like he's looking annoyed over where the portal is, where the guy who usually opens the portal is supposed to be standing.
Yeah, that's the main thing I'm paying attention to.
Yeah. So go ahead and give me a knowledge, either nature or survival check, Essa. as you go about working with the other animals and looking about them?
23 for survival.
You'd guess probably 2 days, maybe 3, depending on as you look about the creatures. Based on how much food you have, maybe another week or 2 of that you can probably keep the bison at a comfortable weight. Maybe less than a week if BK continues to eat like he was. Roughly what you get.
Okay. Food stock up. Alright. You can do that the next couple days. Then again, we could always pick that up in Sage Lane, because I think he's going to have better food for animal raising than here.
Okay, as you lot go about your morning, kind of going, walking about, the crew kind of gets the ship into order, getting the ropes ready to go, and at a moment's notice. The crew seems a little uneasy, as if they're kind of watching you lot, expecting you either to go off into town or start to give orders, as if they're kind of expecting something to happen. As you lot work about the ship, it's almost, you kind of get a sense that there's a slight uneasiness amongst the crew as they watch you lot. Many of them seeming to eye Essa and James with the slight grouchiness at first from the morning that they were able to hear, as well as then the sudden disappearance of the 2 of them down below into the animal section. One of the members kind of comes over as he looks at you, Rollman. You recognize him as one of the younger giants. As you kind of think for a minute, you recognize the name of something like Reggie was what he said in common, and everyone seemed to laugh when he said that name. But as he seems to kind of come over to you, he stands about 23 feet tall. He kind of crouches down next to you and kind of leans in and whispering, not really a great whisper as it's well heard across the deck, though the 2 below don't really hear this. He as the man looks at you or whispers into your ear and goes, "So, do we need to make up the captain's quarter to fit 2, or is Captain James all right with it by himself, or is this like a fling?"
I'm no expert, but I'm pretty sure it was a one-time thing.
He nods and he goes, "I'm pretty sure that's not the case. They just went down below to the animal pens and disappeared for about half an hour with each other after arguing with each other. I'm no genius, but me and the missus do that quite often whenever the kids are being a problem. We just want to get a few minutes away from them. They think we're fighting, and then they leave us alone. It works great."
Perhaps their business, not mine.
Yeah, nods and goes, "Good to know." And he kind of gives a thumbs up to the rest of the crew, who give us light golf clap as James and Essa come back up above deck.
James looks confused at the clap. What? I'm not even going to go into it.
The crew kind of dissipates back to their duties as they hear you say that, kind of trying not to be awkward as they do so.
Feels like everybody's walking on eggshells today.
I wonder why. The commotion last night.
I lost a wrestling match while I was half asleep. I don't know.
You hear a couple of the crew chuckle.
The outside observer, James, and I'll explain it to James what the crew thinks happened.
James is gonna slowly go wide-eyed, look up at us, and then look at Rollman, then just 1,000-yard stare off the side of the ship for a moment.
You hear one of the crew go, "Dragon Lair, Dragon Lair," and you start to hear the crew start chanting this. It gets loud enough it goes across the entirety of the 3 districts. You hear it as it echoes into the Underdark. James goes as bright red as a fucking tomato as you hear this.
Roman is smiling and laughing.
I said just air.
Yeah, no, fair enough. The crew seems to, after a few moments of seeing James kind of going bright red, seems to start chuckling as they dissipate in laughter. But most of them seem to go back about their job as they seem in good mood.
At least they're in good spirits. No more tackling me, and none of that ever. James is late Essa. So long as I'm not trying to jump off the ship, there is no need to tackle me.
Dragon Lair in bold. Well, we get off and
Let's go see about exactly how this is going to work out. Crunchy bacon.
Uh,
All right, I should step away again because mom's out of the house now.
you're good. No worries.
we're going to get the Southern City Guide and Guard quest.
You are. Yeasted already grabbed most of
Oh,
the
you already
quests
did?
last time.
Okay.
Yeah, so you guys still have the
I grabbed a
paperwork.
copy of almost every quest just in case.
Mhm.
All right, let's
Except
look at
for
that
one. There is one that has been forbidden.
I hate to tell you, I did. It's just on the thing, and I'm not expecting to use it. It's like a souvenir. 'Cause-
of the love guru one.
yeah.
Ah, you grabbed tinder for the fires. That's good.
Nope. Day hanging. It's part of the decor now.
Yeah, as you say this, Rollman, Essa kind of goes into the captain's quarters. A few moments later, comes back out with a kind of what looks to be a cheap metal binding of bronze that has a couple of the quests that seem to be kind of shoved into the book binding to hold it. As if flipping through, you see the ones from the Tothlands that are kind of set aside.
All right, we'll flip it over.
As you read the Southern City Guide and Guard, the quest reward says 5,000 pounds of breadfruit paid upon delivery of the organization. This was requested through a middleman in the Crow's Bar Guild, the adventuring guild you'd be familiar with, and that you are meeting with a man named Kaz Ossie.
Do you have a location?
Yes, says to meet him in the merchant docks, and that his ship will be docked there, and to either request that from the portmaster or to request from one of the locals.
All right, let's get to it. Do some stretches and hop off the ship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As you as the four of you disembark, Essa remounting Shanyet, you lot kind of head onto the dock, and as you look about, you see the portmaster is kind of walking about, going ship to ship as he's yelling at people to pay up, as his storm giant bodyguards that totally are not slaves with their large collars around their necks and massive axes on their backs, kind of follow him about.
Look, to be fair,
They're
Storm
interns.
Giants, that's like quid pro pro. Like, that's not the word, but fair enough, because they also enslave people, so it's like a fair back for back, you know?
Mhm. That's fair. True.
Look, if they're not slaves, they're interns. And that's just as bad.
True.
Interns. Unpaid interns.
Unpaid interns.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah. Where are you guys going?
Over to Essa for this because if we're gonna get information, he's right there at least, and he'll respect her enough.
I'll bring the paper over and ask. It says outright to ask him.
As you go marching up with Rolliman and James and Toe behind you, marching up with Anshanyet, the portermaster kind of turns to you as he looks around, as he's yelling at a local merchant who's kind of standing there arguing with him in some strange language. He turns around to you and goes, "And how may I be of assistance to the young Tan clan member?"
Just a quick question, my friend, because the quest says to specifically ask you, and I'll hold out the quest paper for the back, where it says to ask him for the location of the...
You see the ship there with the large golden mug and the red liquid spilling over? That would be his ship. I'd go bother him if you would. I have a job to do, especially for paying members of the port. As he kind of says that, handing you back the paper in a not so gently manner, kind of giving you a snide look as he turns to go back to the merchant and yelling at him once more.
I'll only let slide, because he seems like an asshole to everyone in general, so I'll just deal with it.
You do see other merchants kind of looking at him with both dread and irritation. So
I'm gonna go over to that ship. Is it as I expect? Do I see a dragonkin or similar?
You see a kobold. As the lot of you kind of head over to the third ship down, coming over, you see a group of kobold working about. Some of them with little markings of the golden mug on their chest and armor. Others that seem to be wearing plate. Many of them look to be well equipped in basic gear. A kind of older looking kobold comes over, and as he smiles up at you, a little bit of platinum in his teeth, as his teeth kind of glimmers. He holds out his hand as the kind of ashy colored black scales show, and he goes, "You must be the adventurers taking on my quest. No, my name's Kazasi. Nice to meet you."
It's a pleasure.
He nods.
Roland.
He nods, and he goes,
James.
Yes, interesting. You do, as he kind of looks at the three of you, he kind of smiles, his eyes seeming to almost linger slightly towards James as he looks back to the rest of you, back towards Essa, and smiles again and goes, I assume you're here about the Southern City Guide and Guard?
Yes, of course.
Good, perfect. Do you have your own ship, or are you going to be riding with us?
I think I
We
just
have our
point
ship.
over.
The Iron Pioneer.
Aye, interesting. I've seen a ship similar to that before, I feel. And then again, all these storm giant ships look the same. Anyways, we're leaving within probably 2 hours if you are interested. I didn't expect to get someone to actually take up the job so quickly. I was going to unload what was left of my latest convoy, and then we were going to head out if you're interested. The 1,000 pounds of breadroot will, of course, be paid upon arrival at the destination.
Perfectly understandable.
I
don't think we need anything down. We should be good to go.
He nods and goes, and we're going to be going through a route that won't let us use these ships. At least I don't want to, given the storm that's coming through. There's been warnings of some giant versions of those flying fish-like creatures that are going through the clouds. I'm going to land it right outside of the mountains and shrink our ship down. We have a wizard on board that can do the same for your own if you need it.
That would be
Have you ever heard of this
quite
before?
useful.
You can roll me a knowledge arcana.
I would like to as well.
Sure.
I think Essel will just ask, what happens to the crew on the ship when we
14.
shrink it? Because I don't know if we want to bring that many people with us. That
14.
aren't.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just asking what happens if people need to be off the ship, or if it would like shrink the people, how it would work. Because this is not a caster, not arcane.
Okay. Roland, as you think about it for a moment, you know, you haven't heard of a spell like this before besides reduce and enlarge. You've heard spells, but like rumors of spells that can like change your side. In fact, you've had a spell like that cast on you. It kind of makes you think for a second. That's what you kind of assume would probably be what they're casting. James, as you think for a moment, similar to the idea, you start to think that there must be a modified version do it en masse for something of that large in size, and that many people. But as you kind of look about the crew, noticing it looks to be a skeleton crew, something kind of starts to catch your attention. They're probably not referring to shrinking down people, but just objects, and that's how they're planning to do it. As you mentioned this, he kind of looks at you and goes, your crew won't be able to be aboard the ship. It only works on objects, but anything inside the ship should be fine. Animals don't seem to be usually affected, but I can't promise anything.
So out of game, we can't leave the crew here because of how expensive inns are.
Well, they're coming
And
with
we
us.
can't.
Yeah, so
We
we're gonna
also
have a
have to be
giant
careful
crew
about
of
risking the
all
boar.
All right, crew level 2s. Let's do this. We're going on an adventure again.
Well, that is true about the animals. What do we do with that?
Well, he did just say animals seem to not be affected.
He said no promises.
Usually,
Yeah, no
but
promises.
no promises. So
I mean, it's the risk I take. I mean, I think the 5,000 Redford outweighs the boar, I think.
He kind of looks at your guys' ship for a moment and goes, you know, we might be able to do something about your crew and any of the creatures on board, but I'd have to sell my ship to do it. We'd probably be able to get the capital to pull it off. Tell you what, he kind of looks at you, the four of you, and goes, you look well armed enough, and you look like you probably are adventurers. You give me 50% off any wares you end up get from this adventure, and we'll call. I'll take care of the expenses to shrink down your crew and ship.
I mean, out of the game, that's not the worst for only this one adventure. I don't know if we're
For
gonna get
this
that
one trip, that sounds like a perfect deal.
I don't know.
We need to okay,
But
Cameron.
All right.
we need to discuss it a
No,
bit more first. I said it sounds like, but I did say we need to discuss it.
Yeah, don't even lead
Just
with
a
that
moment.
usually. Just say we need to discuss.
Especially leaving a
Please.
pause there.
Yeah, especially with a pause. That's
He just kind of looks to the three and goes, "Understandable. It's just nice to find other folks that are decent enough to take on quests like this. After leaving through the continent of Krikek and all of the bloodshed that came from there, we've been worried about whoever we'd run into coming all the way out here. So, feel free to talk amongst yourself. I imagine it's probably a sketchy offer. A lot of merchants and a lot of adventurers don't want to take on a quest for food, if you will." So he kind of shakes his head up, or kind of shakes his head slightly, or side to side slightly, and goes, and as he shrugs his shoulders and goes, "I understand if you decide you want to turn down the job, but my crew will be here for the next 2 hours. We're gonna have the ship docked until then. If I don't hear from you, then we'll just go on about our business." As he kind of nods, and then kind of starts whistling back to his crew, kind of waving his hand in the air as they start moving to unload their stuff a little quicker.
Let's discuss
so.
it.
It doesn't sound like the worst offer because it doesn't want 50% of all our wares. Only what we get on this quest, which would only probably be some monster parts that we may hunt.
My problem's not with the reward, or the cut reward, rather. It's more so with they said. He said he had to sell his ship to do it, and that I don't know what the process entails for shrinking our ship and crew down. I don't like it. It's just I'd rather take a crew and risk the animals. It's 5,000.
I can say that
I think it's worth.
the method they're originally going to use would be mainly to just shrink down the ship. And it would probably affect anything. It would mostly affect things that are inanimate in that meaning. So it affecting the animals but not the crew seems odd.
I'm willing to risk the animals though. 500 pounds of breadfruit ants, I think, outweighs the animals. No offense. I looked at both of you.
Oh, that reminds me, James.
Yes?
I don't trust your prognosis of animals. The boar is going to give birth in a couple days.
That's fair. I'm not used to boars. I'm more used to mules and other snowbound creatures.
So, But I mean, it's your guys' animals you're risking mostly. I'll just make sure Shiny Hat's not on the ship.
BK also won't be on that ship.
We can take the mule and BK off, and they can walk with us during the quest.
And we're risking the piglets, or the boarlets, however we want to call them, the pregnant boar, and the bison.
I don't really care about the bison. It's just the boar. We could.
Well, the bison's been providing us with cheese for the ship.
That's fair. I think we can live without cheese, though.
How long is the walk up to that where we sold the other animals, DM?
About roughly a half an hour's walk into the city, if I remember correctly.
I could just go sell the boar now.
She's pregnant and due any day now.
You
but
said...
then we want to see about taking any of the piglets off for ourselves, or are we just going to go with what we have?
I can carry a piglet. The special one.
So you do have Sparky.
Yeah. Yep. And I can just go sell the piglet.
Well, you wanted to keep a breeding pair, and I agree with that entirely.
Yeah, but there's gonna be more animals for us to get. I'm just thinking, do we really want to carry a group of piglets, even 2 of them on a mission like this? Probably not. Even one's going to be annoying.
Might be able to. Well, we have a cart. We could put at least. I say we can put 2 in the cart.
As you lot are having this kind of conversation on top of the deck of your ship, your crew going about their business, kind of prepping the ship for leaving later, you see as Kazasi kind of comes walking down the port towards you lot, a 26-foot tall storm giant kind of standing behind him, who looks to be quite rough overall. Though dressed in merchant's clothing, you can definitely see the obvious like ink and tattoos all down their arms, even though their arms are covered in very fine silk merchant clothes. They seem to be coming forward. Their scars across their face, a light beard that looks to be slightly caught up from where marks of swords have kind of slashed it and removed the hair follicles. This kind of storm giant looks very rough as he comes walking over with Kasasi. As he comes over, Kazasi kind of waits at the step of the port before coming aboard and goes, my benefactor here has said he'd offer, or has a better offer. Said that it would be a silly idea to sell the ship. He said instead that he'd be willing to ride back with you all, taking our ship, and drop you off here as he'd come back, because we have to do a return for a second dealing anyways. He kind of gestures to his friend. My friend here, his name's Aknar. He's a storm giant, one of the very distant cousins of one of the members of Clan Heria, I believe is how you pronounce it, as he kind of takes a second looking up at him. And he goes, as Kazasi continues, he goes, he doesn't speak common, but he understands hand motions.
I need a read on this guy.
Sure.
See if I can tell he's definitely a pirate, but like... like that. So it's not Soto?
Yeah, sense motive. Yep, go ahead.
But he doesn't speak common, which means he probably speaks giant, at least.
Let's see what we're rolling. Man, 14. What are you trying to get a read on?
Is this man truly a reformed pirate? Or first of all, do I think he's a pirate or a previous pirate since his tattoos and stuff? And
Look.
do I think he's a truly reformed merchant instead now?
As you kind of take a second to look at him, you do notice something about his gait seems off, as if he's used to carrying a heavier weapon, though he does seem to carry himself with a bit of comfortability, as if, it's either been a while, or he's comfortable, or just as comfortable without a weapon on him. Though you do notice he kind of leans forward a little bit more, as if he's supposed to have or he would carry something on his back. Kind of looking him about, his hand's definitely rough, but the ink on him doesn't show any significance of piratehood. You don't see any skeletons, no black flags. His markings mostly seem to be of storm giant markings that you've seen on other storm giant pirates. Markings of battle design, what looks to be like markings of different raids that they've been on, places they've been, little nations' names, little names of people they've slain. Nothing though that gives you the immediate, oh, this guy is like an immediate raider or pirate. Looking him up and down, he doesn't seem to be armed, and he looks to be kind of almost not there, as if he kind of as you look at his face, something seems off about his eyes. They seem to be like distant, as it looks like he's looking off somewhere as he looks straight at you. But you get no sense if he is a pirate or formerly a pirate, or if this guy is at all reformed in any way.
We could have our ship follow us at least parts of the way. That way, they wouldn't have to be stuck here at the dock.
Kazasi shrugs and goes, "It's your ship if you want to chance it to those damn fish. I had 2 ships when I came here. That was this morning, by the way."
That must have been a great loss.
Tell me about it. 3,000 gold pieces in profits on one ship, and that's not counting what the ship was cost or what the crew cost me in death insurance.
James is just nodding solemnly. The merchant's nod of, that's a lot of money lost. Oof.
But, as he shrugs, he goes, "It's an offer. I thought we'd make it. Aknar said that he wanted, well, said, that came up with the idea, as he kind of hands out a note, clearly written in giant, as it kind of basically explains what he just said. And he goes, he thought it would be of use to you lot, and I figured I'd be a horrible merchant not to offer it as an idea. If you decide you're not interested, we can go with the original plan, but I figured you didn't want to chance your own ship. And he kind of, as he kind of bows a little forward a little bit and turns and walks away. You notice Aknar kind of seems to eye Rollman for just a little bit longer as he turns and continues walking off with Kasalsi.
What do you two think of that idea?
I don't like it. Going on a foreign ship.
I'm gonna be honest. I think our best plan is for me to just go sell the hogs, and then we can just take the crew with us, shrink the ship, risk just the bison, which aren't worth much money anyway.
No, and they're easier to replace.
But I need to know now because it's like a half-hour walk there and then a half-hour walk back.
I agree.
Try to keep a breeding pair of the pigs, because that'll be something.
I'll leave them on the ship and you can take them off. Then I'll walk off to get two of the piglets and the hog mother, which is going to be... I'll get some crew members to help me transport the hog.
Yeah.
Yep.
Use the pulley to get her off. If you have to. Raise it up.
All right. Yeah. A couple of the crew will help. How many are you taking with you?
I only need as many as needed to... I know one guy struggled to carry, it's probably two to carry the...
No, I meant how many hogs are you going to go take to sell?
Oh, all but a breeding pair of the piglets. The electric one and the breeding partner.
And one female. Okay.
Yep.
All right. I believe that leaves you with 7 hogs is what you had left.
We had the pregnant one and 4 of the piglets.
And 4 piglets.
4 piglets. Yep.
I'm taking 2 piglets and the pregnant one.
Okay. As one of the crew members offers to help carrying the female, and another grabbing the 2 smaller pigs, Shunyet kind of licks her lips as she stares at the pigs as you lot start heading out towards the inn.
Rollman, we should inform them that what's going to be happening. What I've got carved out are basically no better than quarterstaffs for giants, but they're something.
What are you talking about?
I've been working on some spears for them.
Okay.
But right now all I have are the shafts, and they're rough. They're not fully set, but they're roughed out.
Okay. Essa, as you head into town for a moment, kind of heading back to the Charming Inn where you had originally heard that the selling of creatures these creatures would be easiest. The Adventuring Guild, Crowsbar Guild, being almost an hour and a half walk from the merchants docks. Realizing it wouldn't be worth going that far, you head straight to the inn. As you arrive at the inn with the giants, Kelbis, 3-foot, kind of comes walking up as the door opens up. He smiles, brimming as he does, as he starts kind of with a hearty laugh. He goes, "And what have you brought me today, young lady?"
I'll have them set down the cage of the giant hog.
The 2 giants kind of set the 2 piglets to the side and the giant hog off to the side. He looks at it and goes, "Now she looks delicious, though. She has got some squirming in there. She is all over for sale, or are you looking to just sell the mother?"
All.
All?
The 10 to 15 piglets are her and the 2 on the side.
He nods and goes, "And how much would you like for the princess and her 2 paupers?"
I'm trying to remember how much he paid me last time for this other creatures. Do you boys remember before I...
No.
Not recall what you sold the bird for.
Give me a search check to see if you see any other hogs around, or if you see notes to give you any sort of notice to how much this would have cost.
Search?
Mm-hmm.
I have a +8. Let's see. 20. Not natural, but 20.
As you search about, you do see that Displacer Hog is on the menu at about 1,000 gold pieces per plate. As you look about, you do see it seems to be quite popular as people are having these kind of brought out. As you look at the customers, one of the customers even catching your eye as you immediately recognize Drift kind of sitting there talking to another Genasi member who looks to be almost identical to them but masculine in sorts, as they seem to be enjoying some food.
As it just thinks for a second, let's see. You paid me about 20k for the real exotic Thunderbird last time.
He nods.
The hog's special because it's real oversized.
He nods again.
Can I see the plate size of like how much meat compared to the mother is on a plate that's selling? Because apparently it's pop when people have plates.
Yeah, you'd guess maybe about 2 to 3 pound. Like these are pretty good slices, big, like wide slices. Though they are quite thin. You'd guess that probably a normal hog's about half her size for what they're serving out here.
Yeah, but I'm saying like if they're paying 2 to 3 pounds, but how much did she weigh? Because wasn't she a few thousand?
Yes.
Big fucking hog.
She is like 2,000 pounds, I believe.
But he also wants to make a big profit. Call it 25k for the mother. I don't know. 750 per piglet.
He looks at you for a second, and as he kind of smiles for a minute, and he kind of goes to hold out his hand, you see as Drift kind of comes walking over. She smiles at you, Essa, and kind of comes up to your ear, acting as if she's about to try and like hug you. Kind of interrupting right before you can reach to this man's the chef's hand, and she whispers in your ear, "They're worth about 10k a piece." She kind of gives a really strong hug, and then she kind of pulls back and goes, "Essa, tell Rollerman I'd love to see him again. I still owe him for last time, so I'd love to get to another chance at seeing him next time you guys are in town." As she kind of pats you on both shoulders and kind of hugs you again, and then leans back, smiles, and turns and walks away back to her table.
What can I say?
The guy turns back and goes, "So 25,000 was what you said, plus 750 gold for each of the piglets?"
As it just gives a slight off look to tell to the fucking Drift.
As you see Drift walk away, she kind of sits down, smiling as she goes back to eating, and kind of just watches you as you continue dealing with Kelbis.
I'm not gonna sell the piglets for 10k right out of game because I want to offload them quickly and I have no one else to sell them to. Right.
Up it to 1,000. See about upping it to 1,000 per piglet. That's.
I could probably do it. He'd still be really happy with like. He'd probably really still be happy with 2,000 for a quick sale, and I won't change the mother.
Huh. That seems fair because you're trying to offload quickly, and he has a demand. You have a supply. Granted, you could also charge him to the nose through it for it.
I'm not gonna, because I have nowhere else to sell if he doesn't buy. Because I don't have time. Interesting. Yeah, 25k for the mother, 2k each for the piglets.
Kind of looks at you and goes, 1.5 for the piglets.
1,750. Right in the middle.
You see, he kind of strokes the feathers on his chin for a moment as he extends his hand and goes, "Fine.
Alright.
Go ahead and add that gold to your inventory."
Okay. Quick sale, high profit, and that quest was so easy. I think
we can easily go catch more if we need to.
If we really want to. That quest took like a day, and we were in no danger.
Yeah, as you kind of take the gold as he hands you the gold, the two giants kind of turn and start heading back with you as you head back to the merchant's district port. Now, are you gonna be looking for anything along the way, or are you just heading straight there?
So I heard James talking about how we only had like 5 weapons proper for the giants to hand out.
Yeah.
The quarterstaff.
Mm-hmm.
And I just see him selling like normal weapons, like spears that I can just load each. How many giants do we have on the crew? What's our proper number?
We have 12, I believe.
Correct.
12?
Yep.
I'll just look to buy like a small collection of spears that are like decent quality, not masterwork anything, just decent spears, like standard issue kind of.
Something that's not gonna break instantly.
Yeah, like a standard spear.
Yeah, no, as you continue walking down the street, the main street on the first floor of the merchant's column is as you look about the main roads, most of it's cleared. There aren't any market stalls out and about. Many of the few businesses inside buildings and such. As you look about, you don't find any sort of non-magical blacksmith. Many with prices of each of items starting at somewhere around 1,000 gold pieces apiece. As you look about, one of the giants that came with you, does mention that the black market sold a lot more variety of equipment and lesser gear.
And while the gear is normally faulty, if I remember, the rumors were for like faulty, really shitty magical gear was mainly the.
Toth crafters made it. Yeah, Toth are famous for making overly powerful magic items, but all come with a major cost.
Fuck it. I'll see if someone through the black market is offloading normal weapons, because that's not going to come with much risk. They're just normal weapons.
Yeah, as you head kind of back down towards the merchant district, seeing a couple of crew working about, seeing the mini guards kind of trying to patrol through and then giving up as they head back to these stairs, the shouting and laughter as people kind of go about business. You see as a small looking and quite young looking kobold has a stall set up as he kind of looks up at you with his red scales and bright red eyes. He has what looks to be a bunch of what he called used and repurposed equipment. As you look it over, clearly looking at these equipment having been picked from a recent battlefield, as it still has the blood of some of the enemy slain, but it's basic gear.
That doesn't care about that. I want to look at them more closely for like cracks, damages, see if they're all decent.
Give me an appraise check.
Alright. +5 to this. 16.
16. Yeah, as you look them over, you do see that the weapons themselves seem to be not busted, not broken. The quality looks to be that they still look to be in shape. Though some of the metal looks to be slightly chipped and used from obvious points of battle. The rest of it looks to be in good enough shape to that you'd be comfortable yourself using it in if you had to.
Okay. And while we're standing here, do I see the other two giants looking at a specific weapon, or are they just kind of hanging out?
They don't seem to at all be interested in the slice. So one of them seems to be looking over towards a slave tent where a few women are currently being auctioned off, as he seems to be kind of ogling them.
Yeah, that's cool. Does he have enough spears?
As you look it over, he has a collection of 42 spears, most of which range from medium to large.
Only large. Damn. It'll have to do.
Alright. As he kind of smiles up at you as you kind of point to him, he looks at you for a moment and kind of takes a second as he goes through, kind of flips through a price book that is clearly not written by him. As you look over, can kind of see the very clean handwriting in Draconic written down. Give me a second. I'm actually looking up what spears cost.
That's fair.
There it is. As he kind of looks at you and smiles and goes, in Draconic, and goes, 2 gold piece. A piece.
Like 24 gold. Yeah, fuck it. I'll pay the 24 gold for 12.
You see the biggest smile on this very obviously young kobold's face as you kind of hold out your hand with the gold, setting it down. He goes grabbing them out and starts wrapping them in little bows and ribbons, kind of washing them off a little bit.
Why not?
That man. Tip that man for excellent service.
He kind of takes a little cloth out and starts wiping the blood that's kind of gotten stuck on it after a use. He looks to be trying to clean it up at very least before giving it to you.
Yeah.
As he
when I walk off with the spears, he'll find there's extra 2 gold sitting on the table.
You hear a loud cheer that seems to even echo over the very loud market as the morning starts to kick into full force amongst the merchants. As you find yourself kind of heading out back onto the port, your crew, the crew, as well as James and Rollman, kind of seem to be sitting on top deck of the ship.
I imagine James and Rollman would have had to give them the laydown of what's about to happen.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Walks up with 12 spears in hand in like a group wrapping.
Ah, look at that. Is this a present from Drift?
No, I picked these up on the way back.
Oh, okay.
Although I did meet Drift over. Next time you're in town, she would like you to find her again.
That is if we survive today.
Of course.
We'll survive. We pull through.
But no, I heard you talking about weapons for the crew, and while they're not the perfect weapons, so they're only large, I mean, it's better than nothing.
I'd ask for one, and I'll test it out real quick.
Yep. Go ahead and give me an attack.
You have a spear with a bow on it. Nice and gift wrap.
It's with a +6. Damn. Watch as the spear he thrusts so well. Yeah, as you thrust forward with the spear, you feel the grooves in the handle definitely aren't meant for someone of your or with your hands, as they seem to slide slightly side to side, due to the worn-in grooves of someone with larger fingers who've used this weapon before. But as you kind of stand back up with it, the spear seems to have done its job. Nothing fell off. It seems to be balanced as it's supposed to. It seems like an average militia spear.
Good enough.
Should work. I do need to spend some time when we have some downtime again to properly prep things for situations like these.
Alright.
Anyway, I'm gonna get Shinhet ready, because with my time walking there and back, it's not gonna be long until we leave.
How much did you get for the hogs, by the way?
A little over 28,000.
Alright.
I'm going to be handing out spears to
The crew.
the crew. I'll hand them out
I'm gonna go down
what
and
I
get
think would
BK
best
ready and
Okay.
bring the card up as well.
Can I give them a little demonstration on how to use the basic
Also-
end and not to stab themselves with the pointy end?
I guess I'll go tell the guy, because he said tell him before the 2 hours were up how we're that we're taking the quest and how we're doing it for our go.
Okay. All right. And James, what did you say? Sorry, I wasn't listening.
I'm gonna go prep BK and the other mule
Okay.
to come off.
BK
Alright.
and FK.
Yep. All right. As Rollman goes about helping, kind of showing the men with the spears as well. You head off the ship, heading around the port. You see as Cos Aussie seems to kind of be finishing loading off the ship. A few other giants have kind of joined his crew. It looks to be a few of them looking familiar as some of the ones that were working the black market with other crews earlier. The Cos also kind of looks over as he sees you coming up and smiles and goes, yes, Essa, was it?
Yes.
Nods and goes, did you decide? I know we also talked. We also wanted to offer. I know it might. You probably say no, but if you want me to pay for your ship to be ported here while we take you with us, and then you can just ride back on your own, we're happy to also offer those services.
We actually decided to do it the really easy for all of us. We're taking the quest, obviously.
He nods.
We just went and sold the more worthwhile animals, and we'll just have the crew come with us, and the original shrinking plan will go fine.
He nods and goes, "Oh, all right, perfect. I'll make sure to let my own crew know, and I'll get our wizard ready to go." He kind of turns, and you see him whistle as a large frost giant-looking figure with a collar around their neck, large cable, metal poles being kind of pulling them around, with 3 storm giants kind of pulling them around. They look to have a very large, kind of round belly and a little gravestone kind of tattooed on the side of their hip, as it kind of protrudes due to their extended gut. The busted teeth and the smell of curdled milk kind of starts to emanate as they come out of the down below deck. And Kazasi goes, the wizard is he's a little bit of a problem. He's got quite a mouth on him, so If you don't mind, as far as it goes, we're gonna kind of keep him as this. I hope that's not gonna be a bother to your own crew.
I'm sorry, I take a call real quick. What is he?
Frost giant with a gravestone tattooed on him, busted up and kind of kept in chains right now.
He is rotund, belly out, no shirt on, a tattoo of a gravestone like figure on the side of his hip where his belly kind of protrudes over his pants. Busted teeth and the smell of curdled milk can be kind of brought as he comes out of the below deck.
I look him up and down.
You recognize
this man?
He looks.
I know that smell.
He looks familiar, and as you think for a moment, the name escapes you for a moment, and then it clears. This is Boloff, the Adventuring Guild owner of Inherm Purser's Last Hold.
I just get a little smirk knowing that he, not knowing how, but knowing he was fucking with the other party that seemed like decent people. Is he does he look like he's fully sentient? Does he know what's going on?
He looks to be, yeah, the guard's kind of holding him as these iron poles are protruding out as leather collars around his neck, kind of holding him in place. His hands are cuffed together, his legs look to be chained, where he can only take a few short steps. He kind of looks over at you, Essa, doesn't seem to register even in the slightest, as he seems to kind of continue swearing and giant at the other the other three giants holding him.
You know, I didn't think I'd see him again.
Kasasi looks over and goes, "Oh, a friend of the past?"
Last we saw, he got banished from the Frost Giants.
Yeah, we caught him in Dragon's Crown, snooping about with a fella a while back. But yeah, I figured
I think the Frost Giant King wants this guy dead.
Oh, well, I might make a swing by. Maybe I can make a better profit. He makes a horrible wizard.
Yeah, he was an adventuring guild leader.
Yeah. Oh, I know. We're using him as a battery right now. Og here is quite real good at using people's arcane potential to create magic. As he kind of nudges his head up to the very large storm giant figure. Let me double check. Storm giant figure. Who kind of smiles at that the one in the merchant's outfit. His very scarred up face as he looks at you.
How tall is Og?
As you look at him, you'd guesstimate maybe 22, 23 feet tall.
Okay, so not. Every time I hear Og, I'm like the world leader, but he's like 40 feet tall.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway,
I freaked out because it would be like meeting my hero.
Well, he also introduced him as Oknar. He just keeps calling him Og.
So, out of game, because the time has slipped away, they brought this guy. What did they want done with Bolov?
They're planning to use him. That's their wizard as they're bringing him up.
Batteries.
He's gonna shrink the.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, if he's the one doing it and you can keep him in control, sure, why not?
Oh yes. He's Og here's very good at getting people to do what we need done. And you see Og just smile the most eerie smile as he looks down at you.
Works for me. Once we're ready to leave, just tell us. We're all set to go.
Kazasi kind of nods and goes, we're just about done. Give me a few more moments to wrap up some dealings. I have to offload a few things that I'd picked up along the way. Some giant children we got in a raid. It's not a pretty business, I imagine you want to watch.
I'll just wave them off. This is...
As you start kind of walking back towards your ship, heading back up towards there, you see as Latch seems to come walking by, his bright purple eyes kind of eyeing you up and down, as you can feel the creepy slaver appraising you, kind of feeling as he looks you up and down, almost as if he's eyeing up a meal to eat. He passes by you in his very bright silk robes, kind of walking past onto the ship as he kind of starts making purchasing, as you see a bunch of young fire giants are brought up on top of the deck.
We're seeing Sunday's future.
No, Sunday's more like a dead in a ditch, to be honest. All right,
I know, but the joke is there.
I'm gonna go tell the others both that they're just about ready to go, and that they have Olaf, and they're using him as a wizard, which is very interesting because I know he was a fighter.
Well, he also did swear to an evil god, so he has to have some magical.
Oh yeah, he doesn't look healthy. He looks very upset and very beat up.
I don't blame him for looking unhealthy and looking beat up, but I'm not gonna pity the fool.
I'm not telling you to. I'm just telling you.
Given that he was banished.
Pity the fool.
He's a fool.
As you kind of say this, you see a few moments pass by. Some of the crew seems to be kind of on almost a slight tension to them, as they seem to be talking. A few of them practicing with the spears above deck. As Latch kind of goes leading off the prisoners in chains. Kazasi kind of comes back over, Og still behind him. Now, Og with his two, what looks to be two sidekicks on either side. What looks to be a cloud giant that looks to kind of slightly tower over him, and a fire giant that looks to grumble a little bit and is quite short, standing about only 9 feet tall. As he kind of eyes you lot up, an eerie smile as he looks at you. He almost strikingly looks like the larger Oknar that Kasasi introduced you to. But as Oknar and his two compatriots, as well as Kazasi, come walking up, Kazasi kind of smiles. You alright there, Essa?
I'm alright.
Oh, okay. As Kasasi comes up, he kind of smiles and goes, we're ready. If you'll follow our ship out, we're gonna head straight up and then land right outside, or right at the very bottom of the mountain. Shouldn't be more than an hour's flight.
All right.
Hold on. Also, out of game, I think we need to give the crew some off time to relax in Sedge's Land once we get there, because that's probably a good place for them.
Oh yeah, we're gonna sit
Yeah,
down
they've
for a
been-
while and set
You
up somewhere.
you do
but-
as you
Maybe
look
sit on that
about.
ship for a while.
Much of the crew also looks to be very much on edge, as if as they've the word has been passed about that they will actually be joining you on the fight.
We would have probably told them to stay towards the back lines and only defend themselves.
I think the middle, my guy, because the
Middle.
back, if we're in the wild,
Okay, yeah, the middle, fair.
the back's target, not front.
As you kind of look about the crew, the chef kind of brings about the rest of the crew, the rest of the 11, kind of looks over at James and goes, and as he kind of leans down and nudges James, he goes, they're kind of expecting some sort of speech before we head out.
Alright.
Good luck.
Jesus fucking
I would say
Christ.
me and Rollman could give it, but good luck.
As the company leader, I feel it best you do this.
God damn you.
I imagine, yeah, James looks over at Rollman for sympathy, and Rollman just gives James a thumbs up.
I would say
All right,
Rollman
then.
told you, but I am a mercenary for hire. I do what you say.
Slowly looks over to Essa because James has never been good at giving speeches.
You see your cook kind of lean down again as he looks at you and goes, if someone else gives the message, you're gonna look worse. It's probably better you do it. The crew's kind of relying on you.
That is also the other thing. While I could probably give a good speech, you are the leader and they're expecting you to do it. That's like the trade-off.
Alright, gentlemen. I know we don't ask you to leave the ship often. This is one of the rare occurrences that we will. And stay towards the middle. Protect yourselves. We'll all be fine. Everything will get through it, and the other side will come out richer.
You see, as Kazasi and their group kind of heads off, one of the crew you recognize as Reggie from earlier goes, yeah, but what are we gonna do about the pirates? As he kind of looks to the rest of the crew, and you hear grumblings and noddings amongst them.
Do I immediately realize that we're just about to take a job for pirates and we're probably gonna get fucked?
I don't know, do you?
I get this feeling.
If you really want to tell him, I feel like pirates are more the party's problem than the crew to deal with.
The pirates are our problem, not yours.
Oh, that's good. We were gonna have to fight Blackbone Og there. God, that was gonna be horrible. And the rest of the crew, you also see many of them sigh, and suddenly the tensity from earlier and the stress seems to kind of relax a little bit.
Good.
Oh. And the crew kind of looks about, and the chef kind of looks up, and as he starts giving a slow clap, the rest of the crew seems to kind of clap along as they do
Well,
so.
let's get to following them.
They nod
Yeah,
and go about their business. All right. As you see,
You're
as
fine.
huh?
I'm
I
gonna
was
go
telling
look
James,
at
you
the
did
bounty
fine.
book.
Yeah. What are you doing, James?
Immediately going in and looking in the bounty book for
Blackbone Og.
Og.
Oh yeah. As you go digging in, you look about, and go ahead and give me a roll. Let's see if you happen by chance at any point any of your travelings happen to find a bounty poster for this person.
What am I rolling here?
Let's that's a good question. Give me a minute to think here.
Search check?
No, let's do gather information. You know what? It makes sense.
Hey, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah.
A 7!
As you go digging through, you've got stuff on like stone giants, hill giants, but you're not sure if he was a frost or a storm giant. But you don't have anything on any frost or storm giants besides the Boloff, and then of course the one from the frost giant lands about Jakix. As you kind of look through and thumb through, you don't see anything.
On Boloff?
The bowl. It's not mentioned in what the reward is. It just says to turn in him Purser's last hold to Utham Grunaga himself. It's not meant. It does not read Regan Utham Grunaga. It just reads Utham itself. Utham Grunaga.
I'll make sure to let them know this when we land. I'll pull that one out because I can hand that off because they have him in chains.
Little did you know, there are 12 Utham Grunagas in my city. It could be
All
any
of
of them.
them are
That's so
related
many.
or clones.
None of them are related in the slightest.
But all right, as James
One of
kind of
them's a
heads
reporter.
into the captain's quarters, and he'll start digging through as the ship kind of starts to fly up. I assume, Roland, are you going to be flying the ship?
Yep.
Okay, give me a search check. Because I assume you're going to be kind of on edge, watching and expecting something to go wrong.
I'm keeping an eye on the other ship that's flying ahead
Always.
of us.
I'm a bodyguard.
All right. Then also give me a search check as well, Essa.
I swear to God, they start bombarding us from above. I'm killing them all.
I did mention it was a single deck ship, and they did not have any cannons on their ship.
No, but they can
Yeah,
still
one of
push
the-
something off the edge.
That's true.
More the worry is they captured Boloff, who we know is level 16.
Mm-hmm.
And no
Well,
offense, he's a fat
doing
bastard.
great.
If they shoved him off just to kill us, it would hurt the ship.
Well, your ship is a magic item technically, so it wouldn't actually harm the ship that much. Well,
26.
26. All right. So, with a 12, Roman, as you focus on the on everything going on, eyeing the ship in front of you, the storm ahead though starts to kind of catch your attention as it seems to be very dark, or the clouds themselves look dark and angry. You can hear the sounds of thunder cracking in the distance as lightning kind of strings overhead almost immediately as thunder follows it up. The heavy rain now coming down hard on your ship as you kind of come up. One of the crew kind of comes up and hands out some of the weather gear or the rain gear that the crew has kind of set up. Roman, yours, as you realize, like James and Essa's, has been cut up from the original owners of the ship who had been using it and had been kind of modified to fit you. But as the rain,
Also shout to the crew, put to either safety ropes.
the crew.
Get flung off.
The crew begins to run at your order. As your order becomes law, you hear as they seem to shove about, many of them moving, those below deck seeming to kind of prep and set themselves about their business. But as you look on, you see every once in a while with the large strike of lightning, you see for a moment the imprint of some massive sized fish that looks to be the size of 4 ships. That as you kind of float over, or start to float towards the top of the mountain. Essa, as you're staring on watching the other ship, you see, as you kind of ignoring everything else, not even paying attention to the storm, as you focus in on them, nervous and a little bit concerned about what they're going to be doing. As you watch the ship kind of, or seems to continue going towards the storm, a little bit of light seems to start to expand out from the front of their ship as you see and hear the screams of the tied and chained figure from the front of the ship as the person standing behind him that you can only make out slightly to be Og, given his very large, or Oknar, given his large stature, and very bright colored silk clothing that he was, or merchant attire that he was wearing. As he seems to be doing something to cause Bolov to light up, like almost like a light spell going off, as the storm seems to start to slightly expand and push away from the opening the closer you get. You see as Kazasi looks to be almost unfazed, continuing to drive a ship that is designed for someone almost 4 times his height. The crew about that ship continues to work about as you see them kind of coming in and out. Something does catch your attention while you're watching. It's weird, but for some reason, you watched earlier. The ship's crew maybe had 10 people, including the 4 members, including the captain and the 3 members that had come to visit you. But as you're kind of looking about, you keep seeing. There's something different about each one that comes out, and you start to count 30, 40, 50. There may be 100 people on that ship as you start seeing different people coming in and out as if they're trying, as they work about the ship. It's strange as you continue to watch this.
I'm going to speak into the Whisper Gem.
Okay.
The other 2.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot more people on that ship than there were earlier. There's like 100 or so people on there.
Roman's
You think
immediate
we
thought.
should break off and just head south?
Yep. I was just going to say, Roman's immediately thinking this is a bait to get it out in the middle of nowhere to fucking murder us, take our shit. And I'll just shout in the stone, agreed, and I'll evasive maneuver my way out of here.
As you start to turn the ship, you hear in each of your heads, as if someone was talking to that messaged item, "What are you doing? Don't turn the ship. We've got a mission to continue. What's going on?"
I'll just say some heavy turbulence. I gotta correct this.
Give me a bluff check.
Our ship's not built for
Our ship's not built for this weather. Don't worry, guys. I've got a solid +3 for bluff.
So that's a 10.
I think I'm only 1 better, I'm going to be honest.
I'm no better.
5.
I have a +4. Oh, no.
You hear a girl.
All right.
You'll be fine. Just continue on.
How far apart are we?
You're
Can I
about.
keep my distance?
I'd say about 50 feet beneath them at this point, as you're kind of rising to come to the top of the mountain. You're probably another 400 feet before you'll hit the top of the mountain. Or the mouth of the mountain, rather.
Is there any paths like?
It's all
we're
open.
Going over a mountain.
It's all open sky. No, you're inside of the mountain still. So yeah, you're
Inside the mountain.
yeah. Basically, it opens up into a massive like pit where there's there are spires, but as you've been able to look about from the outside or from sitting about your merchant ship, the columns in the Underdark in the space, you could easily just turn back around and travel into the Underdark, avoiding the Toth City and never have to land from the appearance.
The Underdark is...
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just telling you, as far as like if you're worried about your height to thing, you fully could easily go through with your ship, as you'd realize.
Can I judge something about their ship with the size and everything?
Yeah, I will say it is a slope, so it's a single deck or a 2-deck or single deck ship. So it's got its bottom compartment and then its top deck.
How much more weight do I think you take before it crashes, like into the ground, like it could hold?
You can give me an appraisal check. I will say it's from your understanding, it does look to be similar to your own ship, making a magic item, so keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, give me an appraisal check.
19.
As you look up at the ship, something does seem off as you think about that for a moment, and then it clicks in your head. The reason why they're not all on the ship at once is because that ship can't support the weight of the any more than 15 people as you look about the deck. At least of the crew, as you see, most of the crew seem to be a mix of giant races that are mostly Froststorm and Fire, some of the largest giants and heaviest giants. That ship, as you look about, is not designed for larger giants, as it takes a second. You realize that is a stone giant designed ship. That is not meant to carry any other races other than smaller and younger races.
And they said earlier they lost 2 much bigger ships and some of the crew, but not all.
That's correct.
I'll say back to the Whisper Gem, this might not be a trap. The ship they're on can't carry them all. That's why we might not have seen them.
But if we're dismounting our ships and all of us are leaving the ships entirely,
Your call.
Making a judgment call. Return around.
Rollman's
how
making
strong does the crew look?
their crew.
Yes.
Well, I'm looking at them.
Looking them over. Give me let's say another praise check. For Essa. Because I'm going to say the ship is just slowly rising still as Rolliman kind of slightly alters back, looking to James, waiting for the call, as if kind of like ready to turn at any moment.
22. The rolls are holding.
As you look, kind of getting an eye, the crew, you're not as experienced with the understanding of battle, war, as Rolliman is, like not on large scales and such, but given your understanding of animals and having been a hunter and being able to assess other hunters, as you look about this crew, these are well-trained, well-muscled, and well-capable. None of them look to be at all awkward as they come onto the ship, and many of them look to be carrying weapons that look to be not like your tradition, like how you just armed your crew with spears. You'd expect most crews to carry knives, maybe some small cutlasses, but a lot of more uniformity amongst them. These seem to all be individualistic, and many of the weapons, as you look at from here, look to be customized or unique in some way or another, giving you the impression that these guys are capable warriors and probably a lot more experienced than your own men. At the very least, you know for a fact they're more capable than your own.
There's your answer, James.
Rollman turns
Out
to
of character.
James. Yeah.
I'm not sure what to do, because if we back out of this now, they could just start leaping down to us, but shoving them off wouldn't be the hardest thing in the world at that point.
And then if it's not a trap and we leave, we look bad.
You look really bad, especially if this is a crew that's capable of having 3 ships. It means they have to have some money.
You could always have the men inform Barry to run if something happens.
I think that's the route I'm gonna do. We're gonna let them dismount first and have them make sure they're ready.
We can keep our men a bit behind theirs while we do our job.
Yeah.
I'll increase the space between us, but I'll continue then, I guess.
Yeah, as you slow, just instead of you slow the pace of your ship just ever so slightly, making it not noticeable until it's already until you're already 100 feet. You hear some shouting from above, but as the storm kind of kicks on, it's too hard to make out. They seem to continue forward as they watch, or as one of them seems to continue with a spyglass looking back at you lot. As you rise over the mountain peak, you see as the crew kind of already now dipping down, the very obvious depictions of 2 massive warships completely destroyed down below on the mountain, or on the cusp of the mountain, slammed against it as if they were just cracked up. Seeing bodies scattered about the lumber.
They weren't lying about that, at least.
Can I judge if they were destroyed by the fish?
Give me, let's say a knowledge, nature, or survival. At that point, I'll take either.
Can I see if they were destroyed by a ship, and particularly this ship?
Sure. Let's do gather information for that.
I rolled an 11
like
and +8 to survival, so that's a 19.
19, okay. I'll wait till Roman gets his
10.
10. God damn, Roman.
Rollman rolls, dude.
19. Jameson, you're not rolling, right?
I was thinking about saying if I should roll a spot check to keep my eyes on them.
I assume Essa's still doing this. Essa mentioned
Yeah.
they were going to be watching the entire time. With the search check, it'll continue to hold over. Or spot check. Yeah,
Okay.
search check. So
Oh, then can I roll a spot check for? Because they mentioned a giant fish at this point.
yes, well, I mentioned it. Yeah, they did, and I also mentioned one that you were able to see in the cloudy skies overhead.
Keep
When
an
the
eye out
lightning
for
was
that
coming.
then.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me a spot check in the background. And
That's
just
a 9
all
today.
right.
Wow. Dean's trying to kill me.
We'll be back. We'll get to that in a moment. As you look on, Rollman, as we start with you, taking a moment to look over the side of the ship, you see the ship's debris and destruction looks to be as if most of the damage came from slamming into the side of the mountains. You see the sails look like they're completely shredded and gone, as if something strong tore them off of the sail or the beam itself. It looks like as much of the crew that the bodies that you can see, many of them look to have just been splattered onto the mountain. It's hard to tell what could have caused it. Your guesstimation, though, is that whatever did this was either a heavy wind or something strong enough to slam the ship into the mountain, because that looks to be the majority of the damage as you look it over. Essa, remind me again what your role was for?
I was judging to see if the fish or
Okay,
other
caused it?
creature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you look it over, you do see the fact of the large tearing of sails, and the ship looks to have been slammed by something. But and as you look at the imprint on the side of the ship that slightly seems to be there, as you look down for a moment or two, it looks as if it could be the tail end of a fin, but doesn't look to be like you know how the fin kind of goes out into like a triangle. It almost looks like it's almost narrowing as it comes to a peak. There isn't that flipper at the very end as you look at the marking on the ship. If it was hit by the tail of a fish, kind of looking down.
Okay.
And James, as you look about, you hear and can see clearly the many large flying trout-like fish far above you in the sky. That almost, as you just kind of stare for long enough, you see the wiggling, but they look to be no bigger than you at this distance, as they seem to kind of go with the cloud, kind of chasing after something invisible inside the cloud as they dissipate.
As long as they aren't diving towards us.
No, they seem to be staying in the clouds, like jumping in and out of them as they kind of almost swim as if jumping or flying fish. But as you lot
They
continue,
seem to stay in the cloud. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's good that they seem to swim through the cloud. Got it.
As you lot continue, are you doing anything else? It's about another half hour before you're going to be landing. Is there anything else you all are wanting to do during this time period? They're just continuing on as if without doing anything differently as they continue to go towards the bottom of the mountain to land.
Believe it. Just continue following.
We'll be continuing.
Okay.
With the crew informed with everybody informed that if they start unloading hundreds of men, well, it's going to be questionable.
You see the worry in much of the men's eyes as you say this. Many of them look to be quite nervous now and seem to be almost a little bit more whiter and paler than usual as they go about their business. The slight tenseness from earlier now back amongst the crew as the ship comes to a landing. Many of them,
Choice?
huh?
The poor wording of choice on James's part, but
Yeah.
I'm being brutally honest at this point. Right now, we don't know what's about to happen.
As the ship comes to a landing, you see as the other crew lands almost about 5 minutes ahead of you. Only about 10 of the crew disembarking, including Kazasi himself and about 3 kobolds, the rest of them being a mix of giants. Aknar himself amongst them, but his 2 other compatriots not there. As you look about, Aknar seems to be kind of pulling Bolov with a single chain. Bolov, who seems to be struggling, as you kind of notice, looks to be somewhat thinner now as after landing.
Well, he's discovered a weight loss regimen. As seeing that there's only that many of them, we'll land.
Okay. All right, as you
I
land...
will land not directly next to them, but
Okay.
and we're not gonna like immediately shut everything off.
Not disembark immediately? Okay.
No.
Yeah, you watch as they kind of pull off one wagon that's full of what you see as breadfruit in a large crate that's been kind of set aside. A weird leather-like material that looks to be wet is kind of slapped over it as the fruit is kind of covered up fully. A donkey is brought out in front to pull the wagon. A second wagon is then brought out. As you see, it seems to be full of boxes of something, chests and other small compartments that just seem to be all closed up and sealed. Some seem to shake, but the amount of ropes that tie the objects down seem to kind of keep them in place for the most part.
Do I see anything weird out of the corner of my eye? Or is it all clear?
As you look about, nothing seems to be strange in the slightest. Nothing seems to be different. As you come to this kind of large clearing, the trees around this area have been purposely been cut back, as it was clear that this area was used by many merchants to land their ships. A few other imprints of merchant ships that have landed here recently, clearly visible. You watch as they seem to, Bolov starts screaming and glowing once again as Oknar starts chanting something in a strange language. As he does so, you watch as Oknar visibly, or not Oknar, Bolov visibly seems to almost the skin seems to get looser, and the body fat on his big gut gets reduced even more, his face sunken in slightly more as the ship shrinks down, and you watch as Kazasi goes over and picks it up, puts it into a little leather pouch, and then kind of waits for you lot to disembark as he kind of smiles up at you.
I'm gonna go get, because they are sentient, I want them on the ship, Orvar and Orim.
Oh yeah, those two. We did kind of forget about them.
They come up without question. They don't seem to yet speak for themselves as they kind of look about, but they seem to follow you without issue and seem capable enough now to walk by themselves.
At least they're actually looking around on their own now. They're slowly getting a little more.
We'll get them using the pulley system to lower the wagon, our cart off the side, and get everybody down.
Yeah, I nod to the crew to wrap everything up.
Crew kind of starts gathering everything up. Two of the crew members kind of pull up the bison, deciding to take them as mounts to ride as they kind of lean back on one as the two smallest members of the group kind of lean back and are able to mount the creatures without much issue, as the bison seem to kind of hump and make noise, but as they walk forward, the giants seem to be easily carried by these creatures.
All right. Well, then we'll have all we need then.
I will mention to a lot of you, it looks like an adult trying to ride a child's tricycle right now is what these giants look like, all riding these bison.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I know what the proper now.
Yeah.
Alright.
Although these bison, I was gonna say, Essen knows for a fact these bison will eventually get bigger. These are still young bison. They are adults, but they are young. So they are still small. These are, but some storm giants have been known to ride these in the battle.
As the storm giants can, the frost giants definitely.
They're just slightly bigger, you know. Yeah. So as they
do I know their two names? I'm gonna try and lighten
the two frost giants.
Yeah.
Let me pull up their names.
You don't need to pull up their names. I'm gonna say their two names and say, as the two blank and blank ride into battle on their mighty steeds.
You see them smile and laugh as at the mention of that. But the lot of them seem excited, and the crew seems to be almost kind of taking that in light, raising a little bit of morale as much of them seem to get excited.
The beginning of the cavalry unit. This is where it all starts.
It's the beginnings. You have two bison riders. Fear them and their mighty moo.
But as you lot kind of disembark, the rest of the crew kind of gets off, and you watch as Oknar kind of comes over. Kazasi kind of smiles and says, am I good to give the order?
With BK and FK both tied to the wagon, I'll be steering that.
Yeah, I
believe.
Make sure you have everybody.
Yeah, do we have all the crew?
Do we head count real quick?
The crew seems to be about, one of them holding the piglet cages around his neck. The bison's being held, the two. The rest of the crew looks to be somewhat armed. You do notice that the chef has a small bag that he seems to be carrying. As you do hear the clanking of metal, it doesn't take much to realize he kept his cooking utensils with him.
That's fair.
I don't judge him. I offer him that if he wants to set them on the cart, he is more than welcome.
You see an immediate shake of his head as he wraps him around his back.
We'll stay with him, I guess.
But As they give the rest of the crew kind of gives a once over, they nod, and you seem to be all good. No living creatures are left on the ship.
You can
The Troy
trinket.
Crane, or the Potion Crane.
Those
Yeah,
are
those-
on Essa.
Those, yeah,
Okay.
Estes kept the cage with them.
I have a cage. I'm just carrying it. They have the new flowers.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
we're good to go.
He nods, and as he says something, and he says, "Go ahead," and giant up to Oknar. Oknar starts again saying this, speaking in this strange language. You watch as little black letters seem to almost appear around Bolof's body, imprinting themselves around his belly, and seeming to cause the wrinkles to straighten out and contract and contort as he kind of tries to topple over in pain. But Oknar holds him up with the rod attached to his neck.
Can I recognize the spell?
Go ahead and give me a knowledge arcana. I'll give you a +4 on whatever you roll.
Because that'll be a 14 then total
You
with your bonus.
yeah, as you look it over, it takes you a moment, and though the script doesn't look familiar, something about this magic reminds you of something. And though it takes a minute, you realize this is not necromancy, but some school you've heard about, a sub-school of necromancy, but though you don't remember the name of the school of magic. You would recognize this spell, though, immediately as the supposed, as many say, ritual sacrifice spell that the giants are famous for using on their slave tower, or on their towers.
Oh, yeah.
The towers of sacrifice, for reference.
All right.
As he does so, though, the ship starts to glow and it shrinks down to the size of a small dagger. As Kazasi kind of looks over at you lot, and one of the crew kind of goes and picks up the ship and hands it to James.
I will store it in my bag.
Kazasi kind of looks at you lot and goes, so how do you want to do this? Do you want to be in the middle? Do you want to be out front? Do you want to be in the back? I figure I got 2 wagons, you've got a wagon. What do you want to, what do you want to do for it?
I will divert that question to Essa and Rollman as they are the more combatant focused.
I need to be in the back to do my job. So that
He nods and goes, fully understandable.
You know where you're going, correct, on this?
Yeah, we're heading far up to the north. The plan is to stop in about right before we hit the river. There's a small Toth settlement that's being set up as a mixed village. From there, I plan to take us to Seji's colony and any towns in between if we can get there.
All right, I guess we'll take the rear.
He nods.
easier to follow. Yeah.
Yes, alright, you better be in the back. I'll put Oknar out front with his group. I imagine you lot are probably a little nervous given the magic he's using. I saw your friend there, as he kind of looks over at James. Looked at him a little bit, interested and concerned.
Oh, he's always interested in new magics.
Understandable, he nods. Then, I guess mount up and we'll get going. I'll be in the middle. All I remind you of is the only job is to keep my ass alive, and then keep the front wagon for your payment alive. My wagon you don't have to worry about. My life is worth more than what's in the boxes. As he looks at you, I want to reiterate this. The last mercenary company didn't get this. My life is worth more than what's in those boxes. You aren't going to make a profit if you kill me.
If something
Your life
real
is
bad
worth more than what's in those boxes. Understood.
Nods.
Very simple.
He nods, and as he kind of turns and goes and starts to get on his wagon, giving some orders to Oknar, who kind of heads off with his crew to the front wagon. Alright.
Alright.
Begin the walk.
They start. You hear the orders given and the clicking or the clacking of the leather straps as the mules and donkeys start to pull forward. The two wagons in front of you immediately start going pretty quickly, keeping a decent 30-foot pace every 6 seconds.
I guess
We'll
in terms of jobs,
keep
I guess James,
pace.
you'll be driving the cart. Essa will be watching the environment. I'll be watching the actual people.
that works. Yep.
Okay. So, and to clarify for my own understanding, and for the viewers at home that watch this, so Essa, you'll be on Shunyet going, kind of scouting out wide, I assume, from the carriage line.
Yeah, I'll be looking for animal tracks, things I should be concerned about, that kind of thing.
Okay,
'Cause
give me a
I think I
knowledge.
moved.
Oh, sorry.
So, I think I moved the fastest, so I can get back to theirs if something happens.
Yeah, give me a knowledge nature and a survival check while you're going out about. For Herbs, any notices of anything that would be off about as you go about, and for any noting of creatures' tracks and such. James, as you're driving the cart, go ahead and give me a spot check as you're kind of watching and looking about.
Keeping a general eye out as I always would.
Yep. And then Rollman, so are you? So I assume you're gonna be sitting in your guys' wagon. It's just you're gonna be kind of watching the wagons in front of you, or are you gonna be walking alongside?
I'll be walking around the whole formation.
Okay. And then with your frost giants, are you going to have them working? Yeah.
I'm leaving the command of them to roll them in at this point.
Okay.
Because this is more of a martial situation, and I'm more comfortable with him leaving them in that than me.
So Ruleman, they averagely can keep pace, but they don't have the same stamina as the your rest of your party does. So them running alongside, they cannot fit in the wagon. So
They cannot fit in the wagon?
the wagon is not built for for frost giants. These guys are 25 foot tall. That is a normal wagon. That is normal for James'
We've managed
size.
to keep one on there for a while, but that means one of them can take a rest at a time.
That's
for
what
a
I was
bit,
just about to say. If
that's
one of them
about
could
as-
go on.
Yeah,
break.
you could sit them on there. They can lay on and take the whole cart or wagon up. Yeah. As far as
Yeah,
I'll give
that'll
you that.
be how it goes. It'll be one person on break.
Because I assume you
Will
would
that
have
be
left. I assume you would have left all your merchandise on the ship before it shut down. Am I correct on that?
Yes.
I mean, we had no reason to bring it. Yep.
No reason to bring it out, and I'm the one carrying it. I'm going to stipulate that I definitely wouldn't have put it in the bag of holding, knowing that the room works like a bag of holding, and putting a bag of holding inside a bag of holding sounded like a bad idea.
Yeah, I would have assumed your backpack. You're good. Yeah, putting it in a compartment on your backpack. All right. The crew will kind of switch out as those who get tired. Kind of also rotating on the bison for the smaller amongst them that can actually ride on the bison. Yeah.
There's 3 break.
The one that's carrying the hog kind of puts the hog in, 2 hogs in the cage. Just kind of sets the hogs on the wagon, realizing he doesn't actually have to carry them along the way. Though slightly heavy, as these hogs are still around about 500 pounds apiece, even though they're small. They're still quite large, so you do feel the hit on the wagon.
Pierre has shown up.
Yeah.
So I'll go around the formation.
He's just
and
listening.
I'll keep morale up with the our crew.
Okay, kind of making jokes and kind of pointing out things as you go. Okay. Essa, as you go about looking, kind of scouting out to the sides, you do spot a few tracks that catch your attention. Firstly, you start to notice there are 10, maybe 20 Thrycreen tracks that you find kind of throughout the area. You guess there's probably more, but you find no holes in the ground, nor any other unique markings. But there seems to be multiple sightings and markings of them throughout the area. You also, as you look about, you do notice that, strangely enough, give me a second, pull up my notes here. You do notice that there are almost you would recognize these. You do recognize ape footprints, almost with their large width, seeming to kind of being popped about every once in a while. As you see signs of food that they have been recently eating, fruits and other bits of creatures seem to be kind of tossed aside. Some potion cream that looked like they've been chewed on by the creatures. The obvious sign of what looks to be a dire ape family in the area as you kind of look at the different markings amongst the trees. There's also something else that catches your attention. Strange footprints that you've not seen before, though the 4 different creatures look to walk on all fours. They seem to travel in a pack as they seem to be going about the area, but you don't spot them anywhere yet, or as of yet. The last one you notice is that this route, though it looks to be a somewhat common road that we are following as you kind of scout ahead about half a mile ahead of the group, you do notice there's a set of tracks that are quite fresh. It looks to be two humanoids that we're walking through. You recognize the cloth-like shoe prints in the mud, or in the mud from the rain. But due to the heavy rain and downpour, it's hard to tell how recent they were. You'd guess, though, by the looks of them, seeing as they're in the mud and it's been raining like this since the morning, or for the last 2 hours that you've been out and about, you guess these have to be later than an hour since they were here.
Are they going the same direction we are? Or?
Yes, it does look to be.
I guess I'll just keep an eye in front for a little bit to see if we see it. Because if it's only been an hour, we might run into them.
All right. As you lot continue along, someone give me a D4.
I guess I will go the first one. I'll roll it here.
Roll the D4.
Party leader's roll comes in. What's gonna happen?
A 3?
All right. Let's do, as the day continues, about 2 hours, pass by. The rain seems to almost pick up, getting heavier. You see as Kazasi kind of, with a heavy storm coming in and no sight of a break, kind of points off towards a side route where you see what looks to be a hunter shack is what as you recognize it. Shacks like these being spotted like throughout many nations for travelers and merchants, used by commoners and peasants who kind of travel to the area and would hunt. The places are usually not stocked with anything, but are set up to be able to be used by locals and adventurers traveling through the area. As Kazasi kind of points to the building, a large kind of brick-looking building with some potion crane glass cages out front, some like firewood that looks to be kind of pushed up against the wall or against the brick building, still covered thankfully by what looks to be a heavy leather-like material, or not leather or skin-like material of a creature. As he kind of points over, turning his mules that way. A few of the giants seem to follow after, or the Aknar and his crew seems to follow after as the group kind of goes off to the side path about 20 feet into the woods and kind of rests up, putting their wagons into a small stable on the side of the building and their mounts mounts in there as well. They seem to kind of disembark and set about going inside, leaving you lot outside on the path following or riding. What would you like to do?
Follow them on, I guess.
Yeah, we're following them. This is their job right now.
Okay. As you lot, because Essa's not with you, so Essa's still out scouting at this point, kind of going
that's
about.
true.
Is she within the range?
She's going to return in intervals like that. So she, like, I'm not saying as in like she's not coming back. I'm saying right now she's not with you in this very exact moment. That's what I was
I'll
mentioning.
do a check on the Whispering Gem for Essa, see if they're in range of it.
As you do, you do hear Essa in the background and hear them kind of, there's slight breathing in the background as the mic seems to, or the message seems to pick up.
Essa, are you there?
Yep, checking the area. We have some humanoids somewhere nearby, some dire apes, a weird creature I haven't seen before, footprints.
Alright. We found a shack we're resting at. Come meet us there.
Alright.
As you lot kind of, or as James and Roland pull in, Essa coming back only a few seconds later as Shunyet comes running through, covered head to toe in mud as she seems to jump into every mud puddle along the way. Essa is very covered in mud and very wet. Although it doesn't seem in the slightest bothered, other than by the slight cold, as Essa does look to slightly have a shiver as the heavy rain continues. You see, as you look, kind of come to the turning point, right to where the house is, or the hunter's lodge is off to the side. You can hear as the sounds of like slamming are heard, and the crackling is already beginning as the windows start to light glow with a fire pit being lit inside. You lot stand outside, though, right at the turn before heading in as the group now. Rain's still coming down if you want a moment to talk to each other.
Alright, what does everyone think of it so far?
Well, we aren't being robbed or anything, so it's So far been at least decent, although this weather is hitting my nerves.
What's the general consensus Roman's gotten from the group, having marched with the formation for a while?
Your own crew? You've gotten that they're mostly tired, but they're seemingly trying to keep quiet because they see that you're not grumbling or making any comments, and they seem to be trying not to show any signs of weakness in comparison. You've heard a couple comments about bets on which one of them would fall first, and as you've kind of been walking about listening to the whispers, there's around 5,000 gold pieces to whoever for whoever lose or wins this, and it seems that a lot of them become stubborn out of that. Your crew, though, does not seem to be in very great shape, as many of them seem to be kind of wobbly at the knees, kind of trying to stretch and look to be very fatigued, as they're soaking wet, much of their gear clinging to them. The cook, however, looks to be completely fine, as he seems to be almost stretching and kind of yawning as he goes about. You do see as he kind of pulls out a small cigar, as he tries to light it, though giving up after a few minutes due to the rain.
Yeah.
You do notice as you look about, or from the other group though, that Kesasi seems to be not the, or seems to also have his own bodyguards. As you got the realization along the way, is that from this is that Opnar himself was hired as a somewhat of a guard, if you will. As you notice, the relationship between the two seems to be slightly tense. Every order that's called out seems to almost be grudgingly answered, and a slight, almost ache or annoyance always looks on Opnar's face as every time he hears Kezasi's voice shouting at him or yelling at him.
We are not going to pry into that. That's none of our business.
Well, this is just from Rolloman for what
It's just time to let the crew rest.
Yeah, this is what Rolloman figured out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crew's tough. They're hanging in, but they need a break. Let's head in there.
All right.
Let's hope there's enough. Does it look like this building's enough to house all the people that we have?
It looks to be a single room that shouldn't house more than 10 people as you look at from the outside.
Let's see what happens then.
But it's a Toth building. Who the fuck knows?
As you kind of go to the stable, finding the fourth stall in the back corner and tying up BK and FK, along with kind of setting the wagon aside and tying everything down that you need to. The crew kind of starts. A couple of the crew, or the two riding the bison, seem to volunteer to stay outside with the wagon for the night and kind of watch over things.
I'll leave them with my bedroll at least, to give them something to.
Oh, you see as the two seem to pull out something that the cook had given them as they smile, and you see they have a bundle of very warm-looking bread, freshly baked bread, and a couple of other little trinkets that you don't know what they are. They just look like metal objects that they seem to be very excited to use.
I pass them off to. I still pass it off to them. You can sit on the You can use the wagon as a table, or use this to sit on the ground if you need to. Whatever you.
Your
need.
Bedroll that their ass probably one of their ass
most
covers.
Look, it's something. I'm trying to be kind.
As you see them kind of smile at you, they one of them nods, and the other kind of hands you back the bedroll and kind of shakes his head and goes, "Oh, we'll be fine. We've got a little fire pit that we're gonna dig out and outside, and we'll get everything set up. We appreciate it, Captain."
Roman just laughs. That's a nice napkin for them there, James.
James is just gonna go ahead and head inside. now.
Sighing, walking past
away.
James as he walks up back into the rain and back around to the front of the house. Essa, you leaving Shun yet out there, or are you bringing her in with you?
No, Shun-Yet goes where I go, as long as there's space inside. If there's not, I'll be in the stables with Shun-Yet.
That's fair. All right,
James
enrollment.
is going inside just to warm up for a little bit. Then he's likely to go back out
let's
to his
find
cart
out.
too.
Nice
Yeah.
room.
Enrollment, you're going in with the crew, or are you staying out in the stables?
I'll be heading in.
Alright. As you head up to the door, you see as Oknar is kind of sitting out front, a glass of or a wooden barrel or small bucket in his hand that he seems to be drinking from. The strong smell of alcohol kind of emanating from it as he kind of looks at you. Little glowing red cheeks, some freshly cut firewood kind of set off to the side, an axe kind of stuffed into a plank of wood as he looks at you lot, kind of raising his little bucket to you lot as you walk past.
Give him a polite nod.
As you
He's raising
do,
his bucket. What's his bucket for?
it's just it's full of alcohol as you look at it. He is literally drinking. Like his hand is as you see his hand surrounds the bucket.
I see.
Is you go to open the door, though, you watch as it opens up, and a massive log cabin seems to almost expand, almost unnaturally so, as you realize this magical place seems to be a setup as a magic item of sort to expand as needed. Rooms seeming to almost inside appear as a sparkling light kind of flashes on the wall. Kind of like what's that one fucking Disney movie? Encanto. As doors seem to appear with your names kind of written onto them, little keys seeming to jingle suddenly as you hear them appear in your pocket and feel the slight weight suddenly as they are there. You watch as Kazasi kind of smiles, sitting on a very large lounge-like couch with a bunch of skins kind of laid on the ground, a fire drawing the warmth in the room, almost immediately drying your clothes and kind of warming away the ache from being outside and traveling so long in the rain. The rest of the Kazasi's crew looks to have been kind of gone about to their rooms, many of them with their doors open, already kind of like laying on their bed, passed out. You see one of the kobolds immediately catches your attention, who didn't even manage to take anything off, get under the blankets. They just fell forward, and you can see them snoring laying on the side of the bed as they kind of lay there. Kazasi kind of looks over at you lot and smiles and goes, "Tough magic is just a lovely thing, isn't it?"
Yes, it is. It's quite useful.
Hey,
And-
one of the few perks of these lands. You'd hate to campaign in the other continents in this weather. No place like this.
You imagine if there was a war going on with this kind of rain? I would have, oh god, I would have never even wanted to leave. Yeah.
It reminds me of the blizzards of my homeland.
Uh,
Would not have been fun.
I bet like Asa probably understands this. That does not sound like any place I will ever visit. Blizzards? I don't know why anyone would want to live in that. He looks at
It
Shun.
happens during the harsh of the winter.
Yeah, I lived in a tropical jungle.
Hey, this weather doesn't
Not
agree with
far,
me.
huh?
James is pouring sweat. No matter how cold it is to everybody else, this is still like a good 20 degrees above what
It's not blizzarding right now.
It's also a nice 70 degrees and warm in here. That's the fire crackles, keeping the area kind of nice and toasty. Yeah, imagine as most of you are kind of taking off your outer weather gear for the storm that you would normally wear up on the ship to cover for the rain, and setting it off to the side. Kazasi kind of invites you a lot over. You see a couple of bookcases full of different books. As he seems to have one in his hand that he's kind of parsing through. He smiles and goes, "Oh, and if you're hungry, there's the desk over there." And as you look over, a large wooden desk seems to be set kind of aside. A little iron bell seems to kind of be set there with the words in comment says "Ring me for needs." And he goes, "Just ring it. It brings you food from local towns, I guess. I don't know. I mean," and he kind of looks over at this big pool of what looks to be like a mix of berries, different types of berries, and a thick jam that's kind of piping hot with a little bit of bread in it. And he goes, "I just said I wanted to feel like home, you know."
I look around. This is home?
Well, no, this is the food though is So I don't know, man. Try it. I'm curious what you lot are hungry for, and plus, a good tail always kind of makes the day go down easier. You know.
Can I get Shinhiet to ring the bell?
You watch as she kind of looks at you as you point to the bell, and she kind of looks at you again and then nods, and her mud dripping on the ground, slowly starting to dry to her fur.
Quickly before it gets too, I'm tempted, but I know it'll be a waste. I'm not gonna do it. Never mind. I was gonna prestidigitate them clean, but no.
You watch as she walks over to the bell and rings it, and you watch as she completely cleans herself back to a sparkling white. And she kind of looks back over at Essa as a little bowl, or a little bronze bowl filled with ice cold water appears on the floor in front of her, and she looks over at Essa and just kind of smiles, tongue out the side of her mouth. She turns down and starts drinking the water.
Well, I'll go next. James will walk over and ring it, thinking of food from home.
James, as you start thinking about this, you see as a very dark, almost an ale that you could chew, appears in a large bucket. the size of your head seems to kind of appear to the side, and a thick roast of what you remember as some sort of like a horse meat, very common in your homeland, as it is roasted, the outside brown to almost look like a large ham, like as if you will. As it seems to give off a slight smell of a sweet yet savory scent as the gravy seems to pour itself onto it. The item it seems to finish as the bell dings again.
James will take his bucket of ale, one arm in the plate in the other hand, and just walk over and sit down before going and grabbing a book that might catch his interest.
As you look about, you do see a couple books. A few of them immediately catching your attention. One of them saying the Grand Merchant of the First Beard. The second reading The Republic That Never Was. And the third, the Autobiography and Expectations of Every Merchant by Greg's Martom.
We'll go with I'm gonna have to roll a d3 to see which one of these I'm gonna grab.
All three.
You know what? Yeah, I'll just grab all three and set them aside.
Read three at once.
All right. As you grab all three off the shelf, you kind of
I
set them
actually have a
off.
spell for this.
Kind of eating your food.
Later tonight.
Yeah. That's what about you?
I'm heading up to my room.
All right. As you do so, you watch as Shenyet follows after you. The bowl of water she kind of picks up and drags with her. Kind of as it sloshes about side to side as she carries it up the stairs, chasing after you onto the second floor. All right. As you head into your room, are you just heading straight to bed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I close my door.
As you close your door, you see as the room opens up to a small, what you'd expect of an actual cabin. It just seems to be a small individualist, simple bed. The bed looks to be kind of lumpy with the very hefty hay that's put under it, a very thick cotton blanket that seems to be put on top of that, and then the covers for the rest of the bedding set on top of that, alongside what looks to be a hay pillow, though not as great as normal or some of the city inns. It's not horrid. As you, I imagine, think back to your nice, your feathered pillow on the ship.
Yeah.
The rest of the room seems to be very simple, with a chest and a table with a single chair and a candle that seems to be set on a table right next to the bed. It does seem to be lit, and as you kind of go to lay down on the bed and go to turn to kind of put it out, it seems to turn off, or it seems to go out almost on its own. As you and Shenyet kind of find yourselves in a warm room, relaxing and almost immediately falling asleep. If there's anything you'd like to do in the night that you wouldn't like your party to know, you can message me if you'd like. Rollaman.
Of course.
As you watch Essa head immediately up to their bed, James kind of standing off to now with his food and ale in hand, a couple books off to the side, talking to Kazasi. What would you like to do?
I just look at the bell and be like, wouldn't really want food from my home. And I'll sit with the crews, not just our crew, like the other people, and I'll just get to know them. Try and seem sociable and be integrated.
James,
Give me
see,
Go ahead.
Even wander off. James would be point to the roast, going, "You want somebody?"
Nah, I'll stick to rations.
All right.
As you do so, give me a charisma check and a gather information roll.
Charisma check. That's just a D20.
Yeah, but
Come on.
your seduction
Come on,
capabilities have been ridiculous this game. Who knows?
The 9.
Oh,
they
do I have a
less
bonus?
social-
Do I have a bonus for my nickname among the Frost Giants?
I'll say I'll give you a +4 to it.
What'd you say?
I'll give you a +4 to it.
You got a
Yay.
13.
You said gather information.
Yes.
All right, it's a D20 plus 1. Guys.
Oh no. And what kind? And you're just trying to get to know them. You're
9.
not trying to 9. What kind? Are you trying to learn anything specific, or are you just trying to get to know them, the other crew in general?
Just get to know them, like their history.
Yeah. As you're talking to them, excuse me, I just tapped the something on my tongue. That hurt. Yeah, as you're kind of talking to them, The other crew kind of tells you about some of their old days being pirates when they were younger, like many storm giants and cloud giants, as the crew seems to be kind of mixed amongst the two different giants. A couple of the stone and fire giants kind of nod along. You notice that the two gentlemen that were with Oknar are not amongst this group, and you haven't seen them the rest of the traveling, which kind of that seems a little off to you, as you Roman you would have recognized they seem to be quite capable compared to the rest, as you're kind of starting to notice a little bit. But this group kind of tells you that most of them kind of gathered together as wanderers and all seem to join up with Oknar at one point or another, as he's just talking how amazing of a person he is, how he take on entire enslaving guilds by himself, wiping out cities full of raiders that were trying to kill innocent people, and other such tales, like talking about him being some such great guy. Many of them seem to be kind of smiling and laughing about it. The rest of your crew seem to be kind of enjoying and joking along about it, and seem to be kind of catching on to what you're doing, Roman, or thinking they're caught on to what you're doing, and seem to try to get the other crew to talk more about themselves. But that's about all you get from them.
I'll also make sure that the two people outside are cycled in.
Okay.
That are on the bison. So they're not sitting in the rain for the whole night.
Okay. As you kind of have the crew the order, they start kind of drawing straws about switching out, and as they do so, about 2 more hours go by of joking and laughing with them as they seem to switch out. James, as you're kind of sitting there on the couch, seeing Rollman head off to the side, talking to the crew, and as the lot seem to kind of laugh and joke, Oknar kind of comes in and sits down on one of the couches in front of you. Keznok still beside you as he chews on something, kind of doing some light reading as he looks up at you, and kind of smiles and goes, "So, James, where are you from?"
I'm from the Snowbeard Kingdom. As James will be gingerly drinking the thick ale and sort of snacking on the roast while flipping pages.
Yes. I have some family out that way. You ever been to Dragon's Crown?
Dragon's Crown? Yeah.
No. What did you think of this city? I always thought it was kind of a crapshoot myself.
It was fairly nice while we were there. Teluasi's inn was pleasant.
He nods and goes, "Yeah, she could cook, man. She was such a sweet thing. I got to meet her a little bit after she was she apparently already found someone. She was round with child. She's nice, but very nice. Her cooking has just gotten better, is what I've been told. And I tell you, I would agree with that." As you see him pat his belly appreciative, you see Oknar kind of drooling as he seems to be kind of listening in as he plays around with the blade that he's kind of sharpening and cleaning.
James would nod. Her cooking was rather amazing, yes. We sold her a good amount of drac eggs.
Drac aren't easy. I heard a group of adventurers that got chased by a horde of Dracs met the city of gold out there. Horrible, horrible fate for them. I heard they got eaten.
Well, we got chased for a while by one that was riled up by somebody else, and we escaped with some quick thinking.
You see Oknar kind of smiles and smirks at that, and as he kind of says something, and this strange language that he's been casting magic in this entire time. And Kezalsi looks at you and goes, "Oh, Oknar says he doesn't believe that you'd manage to survive something like that. He says that your tall friend, the one with the big sword on his back, he thinks he could, but you, not so much."
He's free to think what he wants.
Kezalsi kind of
James would say
shrugs.
with a kind smile.
"Hey, I'll let him know." And as he kind of turns back and speaks in that, you see Oknar kind of smirks at that and spits in the corner saying something. As he kind of his smile turns into a slight a growl in anger. Rolovan, give me a spot check to see if you notice this going on. Yes, give me a snore check in the background.
Oh yes.
The most important of checks.
Very important. Very important.
All right, what's the modifier on this?
It's just straight D20, man. You know, you can't
Maybe you tried
practice for it.
huh?
No, you
Yeah,
can't
fine,
practice for sleeping. That's as many know. This is either something you're born with or something
Nat
you
20.
just aren't.
Well,
Not too easily. That's so you're out cold.
You stole
Enjoy
it. You stole it
best
from me.
best sleep ever. Oh my God, roll.
What have you
Roll.
done?
As Essa sleeps and enjoys the night away, Rollman, the crew is laughing, having a good time telling stories.
This is telling a story.
You're kind of jumping into it, having a good time. James, Oknar's face is starting to he kind of starts to turn from like a smile to a sniding smile to a slightly frowning anger as he starts to bare his teeth. You can hear a slight rumble as if he's trying to or growling at you. He says something else as he in this strange language as his voice gets kind of deeper and he stops sharpening his blade, setting the whetstone down, and now holding it kind of menacingly in one hand. To you, this looks to be a great sword. To him, it looks to be a short sword in his hand. As Kesnok looks back at you and goes, I think my friend here is slightly offended, I guess. He doesn't like that you didn't take his insult as an insult. He called you a coward and a weakling, and says that cowards must be killed if they are if they are going to work with him. In a sense, I think he wants you to prove your capabilities as a leader.
How would one do that?
Well, you could try and punch him in the face. That always, I've heard that works for most storm giants. But if you're not willing to do that, you gotta come. I don't know. I think that's on you to come up with. I'm just to translate it as the best I can. I'd prefer you to get along, but I do have to admit the fact that you are backing down so easily does kind of concern me for the payment I'm offering.
James is gonna look up at him. As I'm gonna go through the spells that I would have prepared for the day. Oh. Let me see.
Roland, I'm gonna give you another spot check while James is looking at his spells for a second.
Let's try again, guys.
This could be easy.
As your sixth sense, I feel like
Hey, 20.
20. All right. As James, go ahead. What spell? What do you?
James is debating on countering a 50-pound block of ice just above the man's head.
Are you going to
Debating
do
this
so?
right now. I mean, it's not exactly worth the spell, did James?
As you look at Oknar up and down, kind of eyeing him like quizzically, Rollman, you look over and you see Oknar this man looks like he's about to kill James. He's going to run him through with this sword in his hand as he's kind of leaning forward and looks like his legs are tensing. You get the immediate realization. Oknar is big enough and strong enough and probably fast enough to kill James in a single blow. And James is looking at him quizzically, which doesn't take much for you to realize that that looks happened before, and that's gotten James almost killed before in the previous meetings with dangerous idiots.
I'll get up and with still laughing at the current joke being said. Take a mug of ale and sit over by Oknar.
As you sit on the couch next to him, he kind of turns and looks to you. Kazasi goes, I don't recommend as he says this, Oknar just starts saying something and mouthing off as again in this strange tongue. Kazasi kind of looks at you and goes, and kind of shrugs his shoulders as he looks exasperated and goes, he says your leader is a woman that could not bear to see even the sight of her first blood without passing out. In a sense, I believe he means he's a coward and says that he does not deserve to lead you.
What, James?
Yes, as he kind of looks over at James.
I beg to differ. James is a good man. I've traveled far and wide, met many individuals. He's the most interesting one I've found. He's a dear friend. He's gotten me out of some troubles. I've gotten him out of some. He's got a good heart. I was going to a nice speech about him.
I'm guessing you're saying this in Giant to Oknar.
Yeah, I'll say it in Giant.
Okay. I was gonna say because also speaking common, so. As you start saying this in Giant, you see as Aknar kind of, again, speaks in this strange tongue, and Kazasi goes, Aknar says that you only speak of him in such a kind way because you've never been in near true death. That your captain would die at his first chance of being tested by the blade. The only true one worth your salt is yourself and the one upstairs. It's quite clear is what he puts. He says that if you continue to follow him, you'll probably end up dead.
If that's the end of my path, so be it. I've had more enjoyment in life following James than anywhere else.
He kind of repeats this back to Aknar, and Aknar just kind of glares at James for a moment. The snarl's still there, but the growl kind of gone as he kind of leans back, sheathing the sword at his side, in the small sheath at his hip. Massive again.
I do have a question on that sword. Did it look well cared for at all, or was it chipped to hell?
Give me an appraise check.
Because if it's busted, I'm willing to just give it a fix at this point to get this guy off my ass.
Might take it as an insult.
Oh no, not with how I was gonna do it.
I think doing anything for this man other than
Usually
trying
when
to
you
That's
say that,
18.
do anything.
As you look over his blade, it takes you a minute, and as you kind of think, are looking at it, and kind of inspect the craftsmanship, you're not only sure that this item is probably an item of value beyond what you've ever seen as you kind of take on the markings, as you immediately recognize some sort of giant sainthood marked onto it. But you recognize this item as extremely well cared for. You, as a blacksmith, would almost weep to have a customer who cared about your work this well. As it looks oiled, sharpened, and clean. This thing looks like it's been through millions of battles, but yet there's not a single bit of damage or chipping or anything on it that has not been taken care of and well maintained. As you take a moment, you're pretty sure Oknar is either a collector or very, very proud of his work.
Either way, it's impressive. I will just go back to eating and reading at this point. I'm not picking a fight with them,
He kind of
and I'm not going to get
Oknar's
baited
attention.
into a fight.
Oknar leans back at this, and kind of as he sheathes the blade, it kind of stands up. Roland, you feel the couch kind of lean towards you a bit more as he kind of stands up. He sets down the empty bucket now, clearly empty to the last drop. Walks over and rings the bell. As another bucket appears, he kind of grumpily grabs it and walks out of the cabin, heading to sit back outside out front. As you go back to drinking, Kazasi kind of looks over at you, Roland, and goes, "Don't mind him. He used to believe in a cause, and unfortunately, he's not the same since."
I can see it.
Yeah. I understand personally. My own son was taken from me recently, so it's a hard thing to deal with when you lose the entire reason to live. And kind of like you see, Kazasi kind of looks off out the window a little bit, almost misty-eyed, as he kind of goes to rub his eye and goes, "But I think that's been enough for one night. You and James have a good evening to yourself. My crew has been ordered to enjoy crash or head to bed for the night. You lot are on guard duty, I assume, so enjoy yourselves. Oknar probably won't sleep, so let your guards know that. Also let them know that he gets drunker through the night, and the drunker he gets, the more dangerous he becomes."
We'll make sure everyone knows, and it won't be any of our crew guarding. It'll be between Rolleman and myself.
Oh, so our crew's guarding. We have to sleep, James.
Well, they'll be guarding in shifts.
As you two kind of start having this talk back, and so you see Kazasi has already turned and walked away.
I'll take last shift with one of the crew
Okay.
when he's at his worst.
All right.
I'll
Yeah,
go with
that
the
way
Yefnold. Me and him, best buddies.
All right.
That'd be last though.
I'll take a
James.
shift.
Go wake up Essa. It's their turn. They had
Yeah,
some sleep.
we'll take our shifts as we go through.
All right, as James heads
I'll
up
work
to
with
the
Essa.
yeah.
Oh,
So
work with the crew. You need to talk to the crew, James. Gotta get them to like you.
Fine, I'll work with a member of the crew. What was the young guy that's name again that helped us with that I helped drag the boar like a 5-year?
You really should write these names down.
I should.
You
I've
want to remember?
been meaning to.
as you look about, give me a let's gather information check. Let's see if you remember it, or if any of your party members are nice enough, they might be able to tell you.
I wasn't there for that session, so I do not know.
S to sleep.
Let's see if I
Obama.
get it.
Oh, it's Obama.
That's a 14.
As
Wasn't
you
too long ago.
as you look about the giants, you're not sure. You remember it started with a K and ended in a UN. But as you look about, your memory has not come back to you immediately.
Do you remember their face, James?
As you look about, the frost giants all look similar to you.
The
With
mild
that-
racism is coming back to bite me.
They all look the same.
Wow.
That's why Pierre grew a mustache so he'd look different.
I'll start listing them off and see if one brings back his memory.
I would whisper to you that it started with a K and ended with a UN.
I'll just list off all 12 because I know all 12.
Perhaps cunt.
Damn! Alright, no hard C's. Jesus.
You're fired, Pierre. Get out of the
It
building.
was with a K. It wasn't a C.
As you kind of look about the crew, a bunch of names are listed off, and James, none of the names match the one that was given to you, and you see the crew are giggling and laughing.
This is why you need to interact with the crew, James. If they give you a fake name, that's not good.
I think they just like messing with me.
A few of them kind of disperse, or they start to disperse, heading to their rooms, as it gets late into the night.
I'm gonna look at the names on the doors and memorize them for the crew.
As you look about, you watch as the crew seeming kind of expecting that seems to kind of put something like little bits of some gunk and such and blocking over their names on the doors just to be on purpose to make you go and bother with each of the doors individually. But as you go kind of scraping things off for the next like 10-20 minutes to find names, you see a bunch of names, but then realize you don't know whose faces and who went into the rooms. As you look over the names.
Nope,
gotta
I'm just
look names
memorizing the names for now.
But as you do, you find
I have an idea.
you find your own room. Rollman, you said you're going out last, so as you head into your another
Yeah, I'll
room.
go wake up Essa. It's their turn.
As you go knocking on the door, Essa, you hear a loud knocking as you Shunyet kind of seems to smack their tail against you, seemingly trying to wake you up.
Wakey, wakey, it's guard duty time.
Of course it is.
Essa, as you kind of stand up out of bed, you watch as Shunyet digs up under the covers and goes kind of like covers themselves, and you hear a loud, very dramatic snoring coming from the dog now.
You can have her now. It's fine.
Take one of the crew with you.
S is not even. She just woke up.
I'll wake someone up that I know hasn't
She's
just done
gonna
it yet.
walk outside.
As you head over, kind of heading
I'll
off.
give Essa the warning when she passes me. The big guy gets really drunk and really mean.
I can handle drunks.
What you see is one of the crew comes running out as you relieve the two members that were snoring inside the wagons. They seem to kind of come to attention as you come out, hearing you come into the stables as the door is pushed aside. One of them kind of smiles his bright yellow eyes as he kind of looks at you. Kind of strangely, you notice that even the whites in his eyes are now yellow. As he looks at you and kind of smiles. The other one, seemingly his nails and teeth are almost a bright yellow, which, well, normal for sailors. That most yours are seem to be very well groomed. But the two kind of stand up and look up at you and go, as they wave and kind of like start to walk past you.
Weird, but whatever. I'll do my job.
As you go to sit on the wagon, finding the same spot where one of them had been kind of like napping just a moment ago. James, do me a favor and mute yourself right now, because I can hear something in the background. Thank you. As you kind of head over to your wagon, the set crew member come up behind you as you see Yetnold kind of smiling as he comes in the back, sitting down on one of the stools and looks up at you and goes, "What was up with the two fellows? Why are their eyes yellow?"
I don't know. They
Oh.
weren't like that.
No. The one guy, he's got blue eyes. The other one's got green. That was something that you gave him.
I'm gonna look around.
Give me a search check. What are you looking for?
Creatures, something weird.
Bodies.
I guess bodies, yeah, because those are replacements.
They've been body napped.
Alright.
Entirely possible.
And if I'm still up when they come inside doing what I'm doing, I'm gonna look at them and funny.
Assumedly you would have been going to your room to head to bed after giving
Well, depends.
orders.
How long was he spending scraping mud off?
That's why I said 10, 20 minutes, but you would have already gotten Nessa by then, so and that's why I had you that mentioned. So
24.
24. As you look about, you do notice like there's some obvious footprints about the ground that look like they lead out of the stable. That look to be the giant's foot kind of feet. As you look throughout the room, it looks like there's not really any other signs or any other markings. There's a couple of markings of like hoofed feet, but I mean there's two donkeys and 2 mules. So.
Alright. I
Yeah.
don't like this.
Noel kind of
I'll
looks up at you and kind of shrugs his shoulders to see you relax and kind of leans up against the wall in his chair and starts to kind of doze off.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay nice and awake. I don't trust
Alright.
whatever happened to those two.
How long are you going to stay on watch for? Because Rollman did not tell you how long to do so.
4
I
hours
guess I'll
is
be
in the
here 3-4
standard.
hours.
Okay. Alright. Are you going to be on alert for are you expecting a creature to come, or are you just going to be kind of watching for anything or in everything?
I'm expecting something to happen because of those two. I don't know if it'll be the drunk guy or a creature.
Okay. Give me 3 more search checks.
Search time.
As you kind of eye up everything, propping open the door slightly to the stables just to see out.
That's a 17 after modifier.
Damn. Okay.
Oh, that's a 9. So it's
9.
not really.
Okay.
It's a 9 before mod.
Oh.
It's a 15 before my +8. What the heck was that?
I don't know.
All right, we are in ascending order. As the night goes on, I get more
You
receptive.
hey, it's because you're waking up, you know.
All right. So 25's the first one.
No.
No.
it's the way
Oh,
around.
17's okay. As you
That's why I say going up as the night goes on.
Yeah, as you start watching, still waking up a little groggy-eyed, but still quite alert, yet not immediately falling asleep within the first hour of the watch. His light snoring, thankfully, not even enough to carry on the wind, alerting other creatures. But as you watch, you do notice creatures that seem to kind of stalk the outer bushery and trees of the area, clearly seeing the dire apes that seem to kind of look over at the building and then kind of scoot or kind of whoop off as they make whooping sounds, grabbing onto the trees and disappearing back into the forest. Their glowing eyes every once in a while kind of popping up, but nothing else kind of giving you any signs. You see for a moment, a snake-like creature kind of seems to slither through, grabbing hold of a small hair as it winds and chokes hold of the creature. Though still yet nothing else seems to come near. As your third hour goes by, you see as Oknar seems to get out and head into the bushes, just slightly out of sight, though you can still see him as a shadowy figure next to a tree. Clearly, as the noise of running water runs, realizing what the big oaf is doing. kind of watching the rest of the forest around him. Nothing seems to bother him as he continues about and heads back to his spot, disappearing out of eyesight as he goes back to sitting at the front of the cabin or inside, as you don't hear really anything else from there. The sounds of the ribbing of frogs, the occasional movement of brush, and the sounds of an owl hooting in the distance continues on, though nothing else seems to go about as the 4th hour comes by. As you wake up Yetnald to kind of let him know that watch is over, he kind of wakes up, eyes normal, looks up at you and goes, "Oh, so did you get yellow eyes or yellow teeth?"
I can't see my own eyes, but
He looks and he goes, "Well,
assuming I'm
I think I still see James in them. I'm gonna be honest." As you see a wry smile come from the giant. As he kind of like stands up, seeing that you do not react to the joke in the slightest.
no, that's just like no James and Maya. I feel like it's better at wrestling. I'm gonna walk.
Man, S is not very
You see
funny.
a oh my god, and then a concern, and you're not sure if that's for you, James, or for any other for other reasons. But as you walk out, he follows after. As he does so, he kind of looks over at Oknar, who seems to be kind of like lightly snoring on his chair, sitting next to the door. As you open the door, though, Oknar does not seem to stir, still out cold. As you enter in, though, the cabin itself is quiet. The light sounds of snoring can be heard from some of the doors. And yeah.
Asa doesn't even know who already did watch.
Nope.
I don't know whose turn it is.
Good question. Yeah.
Did you wake up
Have
James or
fun.
Rollerman?
All right, James.
Okay,
Wakey, wakey.
going to... I'm going to go to a random door that I don't see a giant walking into, basically, at this point. Noting that one's name down as Jair... I'm going to fucking fuck up the pronunciation.
Are you gonna say Yetnold? Because Yetnold just you just watched. Oh yeah, as Essa kind of goes to knock on your door. No, I got this.
Yetnold with me.
Yeah, as Essa goes
I'm
to.
not taking Yetnold with me. I'm making sure I don't choose that door.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was
Hope
saying.
not. It just walked in with Yetnold. I really hope not.
Seeing him walk in because I heard Rollman say he was gonna get Yetnold for her. I said, "Good night, Yetnold."
You look as you see him kind of look over at you, as you come out of your door, and just like the deadpan look at you, as if like, "Why are you talking to me?" And then turns and walks into the room and closes the door behind him.
James, you're welcome to try and take Shunhyet with you for a watch, but that's on you to convince her.
I was gonna say, as you stand in front of James's door, you can hear the very loud movement in your room still.
Yeah.
I'll just knock on a random door that's not Yetnold.
As you
Make sure I
turn,
memorize the fucking name.
go next door, sing the door that has in air quotations Reggie written on it. You knock on the door, and out comes a 20-foot tall, long, thick strand of dreads, with what looks to be a green joint in his mouth, frost giant, with 2 scimitars on either hip, and no shirt on.
I would have made sure he was from our crew too. So
He is. Kind of comes
Yo,
out.
it's wool.
the fuck.
And he
You guys are
goes,
like scimitars.
Captain, what can I do for you?
You're gonna go on watch with me.
Sure. Did you see the fellas with the weird eyes?
I did not. What do you mean by weird?
Essa said not to worry about it. And he kind of shrugs as he kind of brings you out. You watch as he opens the door and kind of looks at Oknar and slowly opens the door quietly, tiptoeing past him.
I'm short. He's gonna swing high first.
Confidently walking out. Yes, Essa, what were you saying?
To be fair, Essa wasn't concerned because it seemingly didn't happen on her watch, so it seems like it's not repeating.
True. As you go out, James, and find the wagon, in heading the stable, the four section stable, closing the door just enough to where you can just see the side of the cottage, but not enough to where someone could easily like just walk in. You watch as Reggie kind of finds a stool and leans on to, or sits down onto it and kind of leans up against the wall and grabs a piece of wood from one of the small stacks of firewood and seems to start whittling at it with a little dagger. Mm-hmm.
I'll focus on keeping watch, but if small talk happens, small talk happens.
No, yeah.
I'm terrible at it.
Give me a search check and a diplomacy check. Let's see if you can do small chat talk.
See you
That's
whittling
enough
there.
for the search.
Mm-hmm. 4 search checks and one diplomacy.
For the diplomacy, that's a 14.
There you go.
Okay.
Second search check is a 20.
So 8, 20.
Third one's a 6. And the last one's a nat 20 was for a 22.
Yeah.
All right.
He's paying attention sometimes.
As throughout the night you kind of come in and out of focus, the first hour kind of causing to drone on the quietness and the awkwardness of not knowing this crew member and not really knowing how to approach the subject. It kind of looks at you every once in a while, but as the first couple of hour goes by, you're not really sure how to speak to him. And as the second hour comes by, you look over at him, and as you kind of learn that Reggie has a couple, or kind of starts to open up, telling that he has 2 kids back in Hrim Purser's last hold. That he used to be a young pirate raider when he was first starting out, and then got kind of hit in the knee too hard and decided he didn't want to be hit anymore for a living and rather make money just the easy way. As the two of you kind of start to talk and open up, you find he's actually one of the only giants in your crew that actually knows how to use a weapon, as none of the rest have any experience. However, he does tell you that the chef is hiding something, that he's actually a lot more capable than he's leading on. Reggie, and he's not sure how.
James is gonna shrug. He gave off those vibes when he first met him, so understandable.
But as the night continues on, you see a group of hounds that kind of pass by, not close enough to the house to rise your attention to make you get up. But as you take a moment to kind of watch out into the darkness, you see these strange wolf-like creatures that are slightly elongated but very, very thin-haired, with human-like faces that seem to almost grimace as they look at you. Little mustaches that seem to have whiskers coming out of them. They cackle and laugh like humans as they go walking about on all fours. But you see as a pack of 4 of them seem to kind of circle about the cottage about 3 or 4 times in the last hour that you're out, that you're sitting out there. Though, as you kind of start to stir towards the end of your watch, you watch as the creature seem to kind of realizing something is moving inside, hearing the sound of you getting up and Reggie getting up. The creature seems spooked and seem to dart out into the forest, disappearing into the darkness.
I hereby dub those Pierre hounds, as they have horrid mustaches.
For your own reference of what exactly you catch sight of as a little glimpse of light hits it, the creature looks to have just a little tuft of hair on top of it as it dissipates in with its bat-like ears and red glowing eyes. As you kind of head back in, Oknar, still snoring heavily now on his stool, or on his bench out in the front. Reggie, again, quietly opens the door gently and lets you in, and then follows right behind you as he goes, "Oh, go wake up, the chef. I feel it's the last hour. He's probably the best to be up anyways."
I was gonna wake Rollman up to go with him, so...
And you see Reggie kind of nod and go, "Oh, and James, do me a favor.
Yeah?
Don't ever tell us about the true honesty again like that, my man. It brings down morale. You're a terrible captain when you do that." And as you see him kind of go,
I'll keep it in mind. Thanks for the advice. I give him a smile.
And he gives a thumbs up as he goes and taps on the chef's door, and the chef kind of comes out groggily. Reggie heading back up to his
wake
room.
Rollman up. Your turn too. Chef's already up for you.
Rowan gets up, not much fuss.
Yeah, as you
James goes back to bed.
James, you
I'll
head
ask
back
him,
in.
all went well?
There were some weird hounds, and I'll describe them. They looked like if Pierre had a worse mustache and was a dog.
So a Genasi on all four legs. Okay.
Except,
I've never seen a
Not-
creature like this before.
except
In the way
they were
he's
more
describing
like
them?
your or my skin tone. So,
One made of an element. Yeah. Go ahead and give me Let's do a knowledge. I'll say a survival or knowledge nature.
Alright. I don't have that. Oh well.
this
I'll
would be
do
pure
knowledge
int check.
nature. You're in. Yeah.
Damn. There's your 20.
21.
Um.
On a stupid.
You think
Check
back
and
for a
see if it
moment.
exists.
You've heard of there's elementals that are used as helms and like other kinds of elementals that have been trained to shape and creatures from the elemental plane that supposedly exist in the Genasi lands. As you think about it for a minute, Drift is here. It could possibly be the case that maybe one of those like creatures got let loose in the Tothlands and is out roaming about. But that would mean that the creature is able to use elemental magic, elemental abilities, and would probably be a pretty hard fight for your crew and you alone.
Roll will just smile. Sounds like a interesting creature.
It
Never
ran.
found before.
There was 4 of them, and they ran off. They weren't elemental in any way. They just.
Alright.
That was the
You're getting
best
my hopes
deal
up, James.
That was the best deal I could get for the facial features.
You think back on the slightly handsome appearance of Pierre, and think for a minute, trying to put that to a dog's face and just kind of put two together.
It's kind of rude, James, but all right. I know you don't like the guy, but you don't need to insult him when he's not here.
Deadpan stare into the camera. But I'm not meaning to insult him. I'm sorry, but go have your watch. I'm going to bed.
Get some rest.
Yeah, I'll need it if I'm going to get my life threatened every time we stop for a night.
You see, as the chef is kind of already holding the door open, waiting for you, Rollman.
Alright. I'll head on out.
Alright, as the two of you split, and as you head to go with the chef, James, as you head to your room, finding your bed already still in the same way you left it, kind of crawling in, you find yourself quickly falling asleep. As you head out, Rollman, with the chef, he kind of looks at the Ochner and kind of eyes him up, and you see the small little knives at the chef's hips, and you see as he kind of thumbs over each one, looking at the man, and then turns and shrugs and turns and walks back towards the stable and you.
What do you make of him?
I think he's honestly, he could probably kill all of us if he really wanted to.
Do you know what language he's speaking?
If I had to guess, it's Old Giant. It's a tongue that I've only ever heard the royals speak, which means he's got to be a direct descendant of one of the Storm Giant clans. If that's the case, that means the only person he can be of Hraelos would be Blackbone Og, the only pirate I've ever heard that managed to fight Ogarin to a standstill. Wasn't pretty. I mean, he didn't come out well off it. If it's him, and those are the facial scars that he left on him. He got the worst of it.
Interesting man.
Where that man would be able to hire. It's strange. I feel like I've seen Kazasi before. I can't place my finger on it, but he looks familiar to me.
As in recent or in your past?
No, it was before we met up with you lot. I just can't place him. Something about him. I know it was sometime a little shortly after you guys met us, but it had to be somewhere around that point. So it had to be somewhere around Dragon's Crown. Dragon's Crown or him Purser's last hold, maybe. I don't know. It kind
I
of
try and think back. Do I remember anyone that looks like him?
Well, let's go gather information roll. I'm
Let's
gonna start using this instead of just general
Will this be
intelligence for his.
history?
I would say history normally. If you have knowledge history, I'll give it to you. I'll also use gather information for this either one. Okay, since you're gathering your thoughts, is the argument.
Other information's a charisma thing. That's why.
Yes, I know. Because it's from your perspective is one, history is what actually happened. In a sense, would be the difference.
History.
Okay.
40-20 plus 3. Well.
You think back. Dragon's Crown's filled with a lot of kobolds. Maybe this is some guy that's related to the guy that had his head chopped off. Maybe this is related to Teluasi. I mean, he did say it was Teluasi. Maybe he's a cousin of Teluasi's that's here to eye you up, Rollman. Because, honestly, it's too hard to tell. It's a black kobold with black scales. I mean, he could be as close to S's kin as he could be as fucking the next royalty in line to you. You're 100% sure. There's none that stick out in your head.
I don't know.
Other than
place them.
I say the only ones I will state that you've met that come to mind immediately is Araxanor, who you know is dead. I will give you that because you saw his head, or you found his body headless. And then a black kobold that you met as a merchant that was a blacksmith in a Dragon's Crown. And then there were mention of black dragonborn amongst Araxanor's crew, though they were kobolds of different types. So, yeah.
I can't place them.
Kind of looks at you and goes, oh well. It's nothing important, I imagine. He kind of looks about and goes, if you don't mind, I'm gonna kind of take a walk around the cabin. Something feels wrong, I don't know. And he kind of stands up and starts to walk about. Go ahead and give me 4 search checks.
All right.
And he will give...
searches of my good things.
I will also use his search checks.
13. 14. It's getting better.
Okay, we're excited. All right.
24.
Okay.
Oh, there's one more.
One more?
It can only get better.
No, you literally went the exact opposite direction. Is that not one too?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. As you start watching on, you watch as the chef kind of circles around for a moment. He comes back only a few moments later, sitting back down as he kind of mentions the fact that a few creatures seem to be skirting the area, but none seem to be coming close. As you kind of start watching, staring out in the forest at the angle you can, the stable door kind of slightly propped closed, but just opened enough to be able to look out to the immediate area. You kind of stare and watch in the first hour. A few creatures shadow-like creatures seem to kind of flow by. The second hour, you watch as Oknar goes out once more to relieve himself on a tree. His shadow clearly easy to distinguish amongst the forest due to his wide size. Seemingly crawling his way back as he falls over about halfway through. Not injured as you watch him kind of pull himself out of the brush. Obviously drunk as he still seems to be slightly undressed. His pants kind of pulling behind him as he kind of drags himself back to his chair. Another hour goes by. A few those creatures from before you recognize immediately as the ones that James mentioned come in. They do not in the slightest. They look like malformed cat-like creatures with like twisted humanoid faces. They do have mustaches that are like almost like very heavy handlebar mustaches. Whereas Pierre's mustache curls and seems to be well groomed and is designed to curl in on itself as a design. These creatures look to more. Although it appears to be a mustache, you realize it's just more of like a puffed out portion of their lip that sports where their whiskers are. These creatures seeming to be around 5 feet in length as they crawl about in the forest, dissipating as they see you kind of move your head. They seem to get skittish as they lock eyes with you for a moment and vanish.
Roman's a bit disappointed.
Huh?
Roman's a bit disappointed.
As the disappointment clearly on your face, the chef looks at you and goes, those creatures, you do not know what they are.
James mentioned, I assume them, and he really talked them up.
Yeth hounds. They don't hunt during the night. They may be nocturnal hunters, but not for humanoids like us, and not for large humanoids like us. You and James and Essa, those creatures would have probably broken down the windows up to get to, but there's too many giants. We smell like large predators to them. But I wouldn't be surprised if the creatures come nearby, and if they're nearby, that means that there has to be some faceless stalkers nearby.
Do I know what a faceless stalker is?
Roll a knowledge nature or survival.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Knowledge nature. Eight.
And as you roll, you look about, or you think back for a moment, and no, nothing comes to mind. Like for a moment, you're really thinking, and as the smoke starts to kind of fume out of your ears, not even a single bit of information comes to mind about whatever this creature could be. You know what a stalker is? He looks at you and goes, are you familiar with like when rogues, how they stalk in the night and like come to stab you?
Of course.
Imagine, if you will, right? You're a creature that was hunted like that. A creature so capable of blending in that nothing could tell the difference between you and it, other than the glimpses of the rot. Faceless stalkers, I've been told, they have some sort of weirdness about them. Whatever they appear as has some sort of slight rot marks. As in a sense, like they can't appear as this creature or this individual, supposedly, without the body decaying over time. I don't know how it works, but that's how the stories go. These creatures, apparently, though, are very well known for taming yethhounds and using them to eye up their prey and learn about their prey. They'll learn how to walk, talk, fart. You fight. You wouldn't be able. It could be your own mother, and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. It could be your lover. You wouldn't know until you were halfway inside her, and then she looked at you and bit your face off. Everything feels and looks the same, from what I'm told, except for that rot. I don't know how it applies though, because I assume you could cover it up with armor.
Yeah. It seems like something you could notice easily.
I know, it's
If you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, I'd agree. But,
It's a good thing to mention. I don't know if many of us know that.
he nods and goes, yeah, I don't, oh. Yeah, it is interesting, though. I don't think creatures like that could easily get, they wouldn't be bothering us. There's too many of us. It'd be hard to blend in. I mean, it'd be smarter to go for someone like James or you. Maintaining a form my size, those creatures are supposed to be about your height. That'd be a lot of energy. They'd have to get rid of their forms really quickly. Speaking of which, James, give me a fortitude save. Totally unrelated in the background.
That's a 25.
As you're kind of laying there, you hear the sounds of the door cracking, and as light sleeper you are tonight.
No, you're waking up.
As the light sleeper you are tonight, kind of being on edge with everything that's going on, especially after the storm giant fella who just kind of got in your face. While you acted cool and you knew Rollman could handle it, the little concern that your life was in danger has you sleeping, your nerves kind of on high. You hear the slight creaking of your door, and as you look in the shadow, there's two tall figures kind of looking at you with yellow eyes as they come in. Although it's too dark to tell what these creatures are or who they are. You're pretty sure they're probably giants, given their height. They don't seem to have noticed that you've awoken yet, as you kind of just lightly, or just have heard them. You haven't opened your eyes. You're kind of laying on your side, looking away from them at this point.
I'm double checking something real quick, because when we leveled up, I grabbed the feat endurance. The SRD. Okay, I'm able to sleep in my armor without being fatigued. I would be sleeving my armor right now because of that worry.
Mm-hmm.
I will make no real moves yet. Other
You don't
than
have the information I do.
Yeah, I don't. Other than I will have a spell held at the ready. Specifically, the spell will be Sound Burst.
Okay. All right. As you decide to wait, give me another fortitude save. As you suddenly feel, you don't hear any sounds of footsteps or any like tapping on the wood.
The moment I feel anything, I'm casting
You
that. By the
you
way,
don't. That's what I'm saying. As if almost as if the presence has disappeared as soon as the door opened. You suddenly feel something grabbing hold of your mouth and laying on the bed almost instantaneously. Go ahead and give me that fortitude save to see if you can get off the spell before the effect goes into before he goes
that's a
into a grapple.
6.
All right. You do get an opportunity attack because this is a grapple that he's going to throw you into. So you do get your opportunity attack. You can choose to use it, I believe, to cast a spell. Because I think you can
That
cast.
is a specific feat that lets you do that, I believe.
Oh, is it only a feat that does? Oh, my apologies then. Okay, then yeah, you do get an opportunity attack, so you can try and swing on this guy. There's a creature that's grabbed a hold of your face suddenly. But they will be covering your mouth, so just for your own warning. If this was a verbal spell.
If their grapple succeeds, yeah.
Yeah, if they succeed, yeah, it's true. So, but if you hit them, you still get your thing. You are unarmed though.
So that'll be a base attack +2.
Mm-hmm.
What's your strength?
Yeah, which is 1. So
There you go. Might matter.
yeah, no, it doesn't. When everything's trying to fucking kill me.
As you go to swing, he grabs hold of you. Since you did say that you were doing a held action, I'm going to give you your held action before the grapple finishes. What do you want to do?
I was going to Sound Burst.
All right.
Which would be a tremendous cacophony sound. Every creature in the area takes 1d points of sonic damage. So
Is there
a
no
loud
save?
noise goes off. But there's a fortitude save for partial. It reduces it. It doesn't reduce the damage, but it saves them from being stunned.
Yeah,
Which is a second level spell.
Yeah.
And which makes the save 17.
Hey, look at that.
As the two creatures
as well.
As the two creatures save, taking half damage, not being stunned. Go ahead and roll your damage.
That noise is loud enough to get everyone's attention, though.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I got you. I just want you. Okay, 4 points.
4 damage. I'm not stunned either because I succeeded the save.
Yeah. So as you get this off, too distracted to swing back, feeling as your mouth gets covered, the creature grabs hold of you. You feel as everything goes dark and you go unconscious, James. You are currently out cold. As this creature
fine.
holds. The rest of the
sound should have gotten.
yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Man.
Don't worry, main character. I promise you're not gonna die without your chance. All right. As I was saying, so yes, as you cast this spell off, feeling the darkness kind of coming in, your eyes closing as the oxygen seemed to kind of be pulled from your lungs. A moment goes by as you feel something kind of pushed into your throat or into your mouth, and as your body forcibly swallows it, things go dark. Essa, give me a fortitude save. Rolaman, give me let's say a spot. Let's say a listen check, and I'll give you a +10 to it. If you can't hear this, I'd be shocked, but you know what? There's always a chance for a net one.
Does the chef get it as well?
Well, yeah, I've got his roll already because I rolled him as soon as you cast the spell.
20.
20?
22,
Okay.
40.
22. Jesus.
I have a
I
+8.
only
Nice.
5.
And then Rollman hopefully has a decent listen. Just not on that one.
Of course
man.
not.
You can't have that
It's
bad.
wisdom
But
based.
with the +10.
Yeah, but with a +10, you can't roll that badly. Okay.
There we go.
As you are one of the first to hear it, picking up the loud sound of a bell ringing out almost immediately recognizing this similar to the panic bell that James has used in the past. Catching, heightening, waking you up. You feel as Shenyet is already standing up, pulling the blankets off of you, the both of you, as she is going for the door with you, or going for the door. Are you going to go for the door, or are you just gonna? What are you doing?
I'm running for the door. You said it was like the panic bells James uses, so I
Yep.
guess that's where I'm going.
Okay, as you go running out the door, you come out, and as you come out, we'll get to you in a second. As you come running around, seeing some of the doors open, some of them not. A few of the crew of your own group and the other crew kind of seeming to crack their doors, looking for a reason for the alarm. As you kind of circle down the stairs, Rolaman, you sitting outside, kind of looking out. In your last hour of the night, suddenly hear the very loud panic bell that James is famous for using when he's out in the forest and gets like mobbed by a small monster in your travels. You know, the occasional whenever he needed it. Sound goes off. Recognizing this bell, the chef kind of looks at you and goes, "Who would ring a bell?"
They're in danger, and running inside.
He kind of follows after you, confused, but little chef's knife in hand. As all of you kind of come in, you see Og himself kind of passed out on the bench, laying over on the side, snoring. As you run through the door, you see, as you look over, Reggie standing in front of James's doors, two scimitars on his hips, looking at Essa, quite confused as Essa stands down at the bottom of the stairs, looking over. As Reggie kind of blocks the doorway into James's room. In the shadows behind James, you can see just as you come in, Rollman, it looks like two figures seemingly on top of one another. But as you look over, immediately seeing Essa standing off to the right at the bottom of the stairs. 2 and 2 together immediately makes a 5, and you start to realize something's wrong. All right.
There's multiple S's, are you saying?
No, you see Essa standing there, and then you see two figures looking like they're wrestling in James's bed, with Reggie kind of blocking the door.
Oh, you were making the joke of that.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
As you look over, and Reggie seems to be standing there with his scimitars on his hip, kind of blocking the door, looking at Essa, looking at you, Rollman, looking at the chef, kind of confused as some of the rest of the crew comes out, looks about, and then goes back into their rooms, not really caring about what's going on.
Group side, Reggie.
More.
And I'm gonna kick the door.
Reggie just looks at you and puts his hand out in front of you, kind of trying to stop you getting in your way, and goes, I know.
That was his panic bell, Reggie.
Does Reggie look like he's rotten?
As you look at Reggie, you see looking him up and down. Give me a search check, see if you notice anything about him. Essa, you can as well. James, give me a fortitude save, please.
25. Let's go.
25, okay.
Hoping for good
21.
things.
21, okay.
21 for my fortitude save.
James has the stomach acid of a champion.
I'm dwarven. The ale drunk is worse than your ass.
As a light sound of clicking can be heard in the background. James you continue to be unconscious. You close your mouth almost unconsciously. A slight, almost a light scream kind of heard from inside the bedroom, Rollman and Essa, as the two of you look up and down this creature, or this person standing in front of you pretending to be Reggie, as you assume right now. You notice the bright yellow eyes between him, the little bit of yellow teeth, but as you notice a couple of tears on his face, almost with like blackened skin, almost as if they're dead. Rollman, the kind of smell as you kind of look him over and start to notice there's almost a death smell, like this is a corpse or something's rotting on this creature. And you can hear a little bit of buzzing coming from right in front of you, standing at this creature's technically at crotch level of this creature.
Well, if he's actually a prostrate, this shouldn't hurt. So
I go to behead him.
Oh shit!
I was about to shoot. You know what?
Asa pulls back their bow, saying Rollman turn with one sweet motion. Let's see if you can manage to behead this guy.
Okay, time to hit them.
18 to hit.
18 to hit.
22.
Both those hit.
This shouldn't kill him.
No, well, it probably would if it was actually him.
Well, no, you're also wielding energy, so is it lethal right now or not?
Is he
No.
a vermin? Is this creature a vermin or a magical beast?
No.
Okay, then 13 damage.
If I
Okay.
failed to see any rotten marks, I probably still would have swung and I would have made non-lethal. But since I did, it is lethal.
So 13 points. All right.
Man, that's minimum damage. That fucking sucks. Oh, that's really one more because my sword does one more extra damage.
Yeah, you do it.
You see, as you slam, as you jump up, trying to swing at the creature, your blade hits the neck of the creature, or this creature pretending to be Reggie, and its eyes just turn to you. An arrow kind of thunks right into the top of its, into the middle of its forehead, kind of sticking out. Clearly having gone all the way through its forehead and into the skull, killing a normal creature. This creature just looks at you now. Bastard sword sticking out of its neck, arrow out of its forehead. It looks at you, Rollman, and it is going to grab you and throw you, and then we will be going into combat.
Is it grappling me? Is that what you're saying?
It is, so you get an attack of opportunity.
As I take my shot, I'd like to give my one command to Shun Yet.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I point toward where James is, the creature on top, and I just say kill.
Okay.
Hope it doesn't kill James.
Shingit knows not to kill me.
Yeah.
You'll know. She's smart.
So you want to roll the attack first or initiative first?
No, the opportunity attack.
Okay.
Yeah, as far as it goes. After the grapple, we'll go into initiative.
23.
23. That does hit. Go ahead and get your
Let me see
attack.
if I can roll fucking better damage.
You break the grapple from the creature as you pull your sword out.
Oh my god.
8 damage.
Bro,
That's second
Hey,
worse.
it's one higher. We're going up.
It's only that. You know how low that is? Rolling 3 8s or 3 1s out of 4.
As
So
you
bad.
manage to kind of like swing your sword side to side, deepening the cut, you pull it out and fall back to the ground with it in hand, managing to avoid the creature's grasp as it seems to clumsily grab for you. Shun Yet seems to, from the top of the second floor, look down at Essa and nod and seems to get ready to jump from in between the banner. Let's roll initiative, gentlemen.
That's my initiative.
I guess I'll roll it as well.
Yep, you should, because you're going to have to make saves.
Actually, I'll be going into a frenzy before.
Guys,
so
don't worry. I got a 9 in initiative.
Hey, Grumpy, you want pure humor?
Oh no, because of my frenzy, I do get a 24.
Oh, fuck you.
It's
The joke's on
Roland,
you.
Then Essa, and I got a 9.
Roman's an imposter. I'll shoot him first.
Essa got 23. Jesus. Alright. And then Rollerman, 22.
Oh no, it'll be a 24 because I went into a frenzy.
Gotcha. Rollerman, as you go into a frenzy with your friend's life at the stake. Give me a second, and then I'll roll theirs. Just try to record everything. There we go. Alright. I need to keep a notebook for this.
Does World Animal have a tool for initiative count or no?
Not yet.
Not
Damn,
yet.
that is
It's in the
bad.
loaded features.
Oh, well, there we go. There's okay. Well, I got really.
Duality of man.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Okay, let's go ahead. All right, so the one on James gets to go first. That's unfortunate.
I'm going last still.
No, you're not. Well, not last.
Second
Look,
last.
the wrestling has trained you.
Yep. All right. Well, the first creature is going to do once more. I need another fortitude save from James. You're going to be at disadvantage now, as this is the second time it has to do this. So this will be a -2 this time.
That's a 13 then.
James, you feel your body swallow something, and your body begins to slightly convulse. The creature is going to break the grapple and let you go, and stand up to rejoin its party member, and head over to it, standing behind it. That ends its turn. Rollerman, you are up as you watch the creature that looked like another one of the giants kind of stand up off of James. Now looking exactly like James, kind of walks up behind Reggie, weapon mace in hand, ready to swing on you.
Are they both in range of swinging?
One is 10 feet behind, 10 feet, but technically it got full cover due to the the frost giant in front of you that is 5 feet in front of you. That is right. What you think is Reggie?
All right. We're just going down. Do I have flanking with Essa? Or is that too far away?
No, Essa's at the stairs, so about 15 feet
I'm
away.
I'm not getting near, dude.
What do you mean? Join the melee.
My to hit in melee is less than half of my to hit with a bow.
Also, if one of these things grabs Essa, that's a fortitude save that she don't want to make.
Alright, this is correct. Yeah. Hi-yo. 28. That's a crit, by the way.
That hits. Hold on. Yep, let's threaten a crit. Yeah, let's see.
Hey, that's a crit.
That is a crit.
Take this, Reggie. Now can I get actual...
Okay, roll another d20 to see if you get a permanent injury.
Oh, okay.
I know you're going to try and kill the creature, but, you know.
I thought the ruling was if the nat 20 is the second roll.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that wasn't. I thought that was.
That was what you want.
Yeah, my bad.
I just confirmed the crit because I hit his AC again.
Gotcha.
2d8 plus 6 now.
All right.
Please. 34 damage.
34. As you slam into Reggie, you feel the blade this time cutting into the creature. As the neck kind of slices almost all the way through, with only the far side of it still hanging on. The head kind of leans to the side and seems to, the tongue lolls out. The slightly rotted teeth kind of slide to the side. The eyes just kind of lull and look at you as you pull your sword back. The creature looks unaffected. However,
alive.
and it starts to spurt a black fluid out of where its neck was.
Alright. Well, I heard buzzing from its crotch area, so I'm swinging for the crotch area next.
Okay.
Crotch shot.
I will say, you do notice the pants, in air quotes, are actually part of this creature's skin as you kind of get a closer look of it. And with the wetness around the crotch being a brownish, a reddish coloration, and the buzzing sound, it doesn't take long for you to realize that that is the sound of a fly of some sort, or a bloat fly.
Alright, second attack.
Let's see what you got.
13.
As you swing, expecting there to be something there aiming at the crotch, you swing through and nothing appears to be there as you just seem to swipe through nothing. Hitting the pants, you cut it open as a bunch of red mush falls to the ground, a hole opening up and a bunch of flies kind of flying out of the crotch out and kind of expanding out into the room. The creature looks unfazed. And that does not hit.
Okay. Romo will snarl and I'll take a 5-foot step back.
Alright. You take your 5-foot step back. Okay. And end your turn.
Yep.
Alright, Essa, you're up.
I'm debating the comedy because I have this rod.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I
really
can't
thinking,
tell you what to do.
You can't tell me. This is not a time you can stop me.
Just think
Fuck
of
it.
our
Leaving the
employees,
rock.
please.
Wait, what?
I'm waving the rod of wonder.
Oh no! Alright! Let me grab my
done?
list of items. Give me a minute. I didn't expect us to hit this.
Okay, I also have the list because it wasn't.
Oh yeah, I did. I was gonna say, I think I sent it to you. Yeah, go ahead and
You
roll.
did send it to me. I have the link.
Perfect.
Roll a good one.
I hope so.
Roll one that's not going to hurt me. Well, I'm not the target, hopefully, so...
I'm not aiming at you, so you're not the target. So most of these won't hit you unless it's like a fireball.
Oh, there it is. Yes. Mm-hmm.
89.
89. 89 is all right. Give me a 1d40.
I love this one.
Hold on. If you linked it earlier, I need to go find it. I need to know what 89 is.
I know what
You're
it is.
gonna
You'll
know in a
see it.
minute.
40.
Yeah.
Roll for me.
Oh! That's actually pretty good.
What was it?
I rolled a 30.
You watch as 30 gems, valued at 1 gold piece each, suddenly shoot forth out from your rod, right at the enemy. Go ahead. Give me it does. I think it's roll 5d4 a number of hits. Divide them among the available targets. All right, yeah. Roll 5d4. Let's see how many of them hit. And I assume you're just focusing on the one target.
It's the one in front that I can see.
Nope. All right.
5d4 damage.
19.
All right.
A lot of 4.
19. As you shoot forward, the first gem lodging into the creature's eye. The rest of the 18 seeming to slam into the James behind him as the gems seem to get lodged into his skin, kind of piercing through. Reggie drops to the ground. Only a single gem managing to go into the body before he goes down.
HP?
Yeah, he had 1 HP.
Motherfucker.
I had 30. I had 35 HP. I started with 60. I want you to know. As you shoot in, the rest of the 18 points the rest of the 18 gems smash into James. As the creature. James, how much health do you have currently?
I usually have 30.
Oh no. The creature looks visibly to be leaking little bits of black juice from the gem hole, like where the gems have hit it. The gems are still stuck into the creature's.
Hole.
Yeah, the gems are still bedazzled into James's. What you now realize is a copy, as James doesn't bleed black. Nor does he seem unfazed when gems suddenly get spiked into him, as this creature continues to stare at you blankly. Notably, a small gem kind of sticking in his eye, completely having ruined the eye. The creature looks to be completely unfazed.
And you all know, I scream when I get hit with gems. You
I
remember
don't
that.
think we've ever stabbed you with gems before.
No,
That's
you
kinda
slammed one
weird.
into my forehead.
That wasn't a gem.
The creature moves, or seems to look over at you, Essa, seemingly eyeing you up with its one good eye. You've only used one action. What else would you like to do?
So I rolled for the rod again.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
And I got a 23. I'm now reading this thing's mind.
Ah!
What is
I
it
wonder what its
thinking?
mind's like.
What's its surface thoughts?
How far is it just surface? Is it just
It just
surface?
says surface
I
thoughts.
thought
It's
so,
just
yeah.
a
You hear the words hungry, feed, consume.
I'd like to start repeating what it's saying to it, like I'm fucking.
Okay. What language are you saying it in?
So when it thinks hunger, I say hunger. When it says consume, I say consume. And I'm what it's thinking it. And I'm just gonna really confuse this thing. We're gonna see if it's intelligent.
In what language? In what
Yeah, what
language are you
language?
saying it?
Let's see.
Flip through your languages.
Which one's the funny one?
Well, I speak Common, Giant, and Draconic. I'm just gonna say Common.
Common. Okay. James, do you understand common?
Yes.
Okay. You see the creature kind of eyes you up as as you recognize the confused look of James, as you've seen it many of times. Though only with one eye, the creature seems to kind of look at you puzzled as you repeat these words in common, and it seems to start speaking the same words back to you.
I have it distracted. Kick its ass, Roland.
Does that end S's turn?
Yeah.
All right. James. I need a D20 now. This is now a death saving throw. As far as it goes, you have to roll because you are now dying.
He's dying. Do we have healing potions?
I do.
We do. Oh, you do? I don't think I have
I do.
any.
I have a stockpile which are random
15.
You succeed. You have 2 more successes and 3 more failures available. All right. As that ends your turn. Actually, technically, since I roll 2 actions per, do you want to make a second one? You can choose not to, but I do offer in case you
I'm
want.
gonna choose not to,
Okay.
out of not wanting to test fate right now.
That's fair. The faceless that was Reggie is now dead. So that ends their turn. The James is going to roll to see if it if it's understanding that Essa isn't one of it.
Be an idiot.
Oh,
It
it's not
is
any-
going to turn and try and grapple onto. Huh?
Am I allowed to roll bluff?
Sure, why not?
Bluff this thing, whatever the fuck it is.
I
I
will
don't think
say
it really matter if I succeed, but it'd be funny if I did.
you got to beat a 20,
18.
so 18. Now, as you try to continue it, starting to kind of look like your eyes are looking far away. The lack of coloration and the lack of rot kind of give you away almost immediately as the
Which is
creature
pretty good.
turns to Rolliman and is going to try and grapple him. Rolliman, roll your attack of opportunity.
You dare
Kick
come at
my
me?
ass. My AC's only 14. Kick my ass.
28, that's a crit.
Damn.
Almost, baby.
God.
Almost.
Take this shit.
All the pent-up anger
Oh.
Roman has for
19.
James.
Is 19 hit?
19 does hit.
Oh, that's a crit then.
All right, go ahead and roll damage as you go to swing back at the creature as it tries to grab a hold of you.
All Roman's
22.
aggression at James.
As you slice into the creature, you watch as it screeches out and the body seems to shrivel up. The gems kind of pop out of it, and this skinny little stick of yellow that seems to smell as if like of a putrid, rotted body kind of shrinks to get down. And as the gems fall to the ground, the creature seems to shrivel up and die. As you look over at it, it does not seem to move anymore. The other one, seemingly, as soon as this one does, seems to follow suit, shrinking down to an even smaller version of the other, and down into a brownish shade of coloration.
I look to the cook.
He looks at you and goes, "I ain't rotten."
I'm asking you, what do these creatures do to their victims?
I've heard they
They're
lay.
running into where James is.
They lay eggs. I know, man. Then the eggs eat their way out. They hatch like in seconds.
All right. I'll go in there. I'm gonna just start ham-looking in James.
Okay, give me James, give me a death saving throw with let's say a plus 4 for your advantage. I'm not gonna. This isn't a heal check. He's just coming up and starting to slam the back of you.
I couldn't do a heal check if I wanted.
Yeah, Essa is watching this. I assume.
That's a 20 plus 4.
Damn. You holy yeah! As you suddenly start coughing, feel your eyes kind of open up. You feel as something that caught the back of your throat seems to almost be like as if like you swallowed something wrong. You keep coughing and nothing seems to come forward. But you feel as Roland keeps like hitting your chest as he hears you kind of coughing and sputtering.
I'll reach in and make him gag.
Can I roll a heal check to induce vomiting on myself?
Oh, don't worry.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
making you
sure.
do it. I'm
Yeah.
showing my fist in your mouth.
Oh,
Let me roll my heal check, please.
well, let's roll an
That's
initiative.
13.
No, let's hold up. Let's roll an initiative between the two of you.
You're both just going for it.
Yeah, it's a fair roll. Steve's going
Okay,
for it
20.
first. 20?
20?
Alright.
Yeah.
Alright, let's say 27.
Oh,
Okay, we're going with Rollman. Rollman is shoving his fist right through your teeth and right into your mouth. Rollman, give me a roll for non-lethal damage. You gotta roll to hit on James.
Alright.
Let's go.
Is it unarmed, I assume, yes?
Unless you're trying to punch him with a dagger.
No.
Okay.
get the
I'm
stick
not
Like
doing
this
that.
coming in, I'm gonna open mouth as wide as
What do you mean? I don't think you're
You
very
know, you
conscious
have
right
no
now.
idea of what's going on. He's just setting you
Well,
down
what I
and
was about to do.
no, he's just setting you down and he's turning and punching right in your mouth.
What's in that one?
Does 9 hit, James?
No, it does not.
As you go to swing or go to like grab into his mouth and try to cause him to vomit, from your perspective, James, you watch as it looks like Rollman's about to punch you in the nose. As you like nimbly dodge your face out of the way, thinking that this might be a faceless stalker suddenly. As this
I think
happens,
this is some kind of creature.
you move your head to the side, and Rollman looks at you, with panic in his eyes, I assume.
I'm
Alright,
going to
go
use
ahead and-
another heal.
All right.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Better idea. Can I talk?
Yes.
I'm using prestidigitation and minor miracling myself to throw up by tickling my uvula with it.
But you don't have a miracle spell.
No, because prestidigitation can do minor miracles as it says in the spell description.
It doesn't mean like actual miracle. It's a
Yeah,
it's a-
I'm not
Doesn't mean,
doing anything that's miraculous. I'm using it to tickle my uvula
You know,
to make myself vomit.
I don't like the way you use that terminology.
He's just tickling himself.
I want
I am-
you to know that I.
So this would immediately induce vomiting, and I'm not resisting.
Give me a second. I'm looking up the spell because I want to see what the exact wording here is. So that's taking a minute. Is it a wizard spell? Is that why it's on? It is a wizard spell. Why am I'm looking
It
at
is
cleric
wizard.
spells. I was looking at my cleric
He's a
spell list,
weird
and I'm
wizard.
like, God damn it!
He's a weirdo.
I know he is. Don't you fucking
Hey,
read it to me.
let
I
him read
don't. I don't trust it. No, I do this for everyone. What school of
I was
magic is
thinking
it?
the 5th edition. It's
It-
universal.
Yeah,
is it?
it's one of the
Okay.
universal cantrips.
All right, making sure.
I
Okay.
remember the portion from 5th edition, not 3.5. Damn me.
Oh, spellcast. Spell damage. Spell damage. I'm reading. And you're trying to cause yourself to vomit with this?
Yep.
Press to detect the power to duplicate any other spell. Any actual change to an object beyond just moving, cleaning, or soiling it persists. Yeah.
Moving.
As
This would fall under
Moving
moving
is
my
usual.
usual.
Yeah. So as you start to tickle your uvula. Give me a fortitude save.
Can
Fail.
I choose to fail?
No, you cannot. You can only choose to take 10.
I will choose to take 10.
You succeed. As you begin to try and tickle the back of your throat, the uvula bouncing slightly back and forth, you feel something burrow further back down into your back down your neck, and further down
again.
your hole.
I have a way to save James, but he's not gonna like it.
Essa comes walking in. I imagine gems kind of in hand.
How are you gonna save me? Ugh.
I pull out a little thing of powder, and I just say, "Eat this."
I just
I
give
take
a
it from
thumbs up.
you.
I trust you.
I just take it, give it, and put it in his mouth.
Yeah, and then he's gonna have to drink this.
Alright, I take that, I make him drink that too.
What are you handing him, Essa?
So once the water goes in, gas starts spewing out of his mouth. He is now full of the gas sleep poison.
Oh,
as it floods into his body.
I need everyone to give me a fortitude save as James's mouth starts opening up, smoke coming from his
Uh,
nose, his ears, his mouth. You are
I'm-
immune. Yeah, you're immune. You can
I
still
have a
give one if you want.
+2.
Not at this
Well,
point, you know.
I also have the master potion.
That's
so
true.
Not really.
11.
21.
21.
I go to sleep.
Rollman, as you go
the
to
trick
shove
is-
it in his mouth, the bag opening up, the water hitting it, and as James kind of swallows, the gas almost immediately expanding out. As it shoots out, you feel smoke kind of expanding. Rollman being blasted in the face like a breath weapon. For a moment, Rollman, you're unsure if James has just been turned into a dragon as your eyes get real heavy, and then you drop to the ground, falling asleep. James, as you're kind of staring forward, you watch as Roman falls asleep as this explosion of like purple smoke comes out of your mouth. As your entire body starts to fill with it, you for a moment hang on, and as you for just a second contemplate what S has done to you, then you find yourself falling to the ground, also dropping to sleep.
Now, are the parasites in him asleep? Because they are in his stomach.
That's a good question. You watch as he drops to the ground, and as a few minutes go by, the smoke starts to dissipate as the cabin's opened
Now
up.
that he's not resisting, it's time for a heal check to get
Alright.
these things.
As you walk over, go ahead and give me a heal check, as the two are clearly now unconscious.
Now, I have set up perfectly.
It is. Oh, actually, Essa, roll 1d4, please.
D4?
I believe it's a d4 hours.
Yeah.
The 2. Rollman, you'll be asleep for 2 hours unless you succeed the fortitude save.
Let's go.
And that goes for James as well. But yeah, go ahead and do your heal check.
18.
18. How are you trying to get these things out of him, out of curiosity?
It's time to make him puke now that he's unconscious. Now he can't resist.
Alright, yeah, as you turn James on his side, you shove your finger down his throat. James, give me a fortitude save. Go roll with your normal thing. I have the number in my head for the disadvantage, so.
13.
James, although you're asleep, your body starts to convulse slightly, and as a few moments go by, you watch as two little golden rocks kind of come popping out of James's mouth, alongside the horse meat and thick ale that James had eaten earlier in the day. The smell of the gravy now not so savory as the acidic scent kind of builds up. You watch as the two like golden like gem or rocks seem to kind of stand up and crawl about as they seem to be quite confused as they walk about. A few moments goes by, and it's as if they start to shrivel up. The creatures seem to shake and shrivel, and then eventually turn into small little black balls. from what you can tell, as they stop moving, the creatures appear to be dead.
I'm gonna put him in a little container.
I assume you have a vial on you?
James has vials.
Okay. As you go and
I'm
pilfer
back,
through
Rob.
James's backpack, as he's asleep, grab one. You shove the two little creatures, kind of like grabbing the top of the jar, slowly, kind of like trying to awkwardly shove it in without touching either of them. You get both of them inside the vial and kind of cork it.
Is James like breathing easier now? Is he good?
He looks to be fine.
Alright. These two can sleep where they are for the night. I'll keep watch.
Damn.
As you say that, you look out and see the sun rising out front, and the majority of the crew starting to kind of clamber awake as the chef starts, or as the cook starts to work away at the at breakfast.
You might want to check the rest of the crew.
Yeah,
Hey, we can't talk. We're sleeping.
It's true.
These two are alright sleeping for now. I'll close the door. They're checking them later.
Bedtime.
Okay. Yeah. As you close the door, leaving James to like sleep in his own vomit, Rollman laying kind of awkwardly slumped over, slightly half kneeling.
Sword in
The
hand.
rules on poison. There's 2 saves, so they get 1 save a minute later to see if they'll wake up.
Oh.
That is only the initial.
Yep.
Let's
I think the
get in there a
initial
minute
knocks
later.
you up for a minute. The secondaries will knock you up for hours if you fail.
Yeah, if you go out to the as you go out to sit with the rest of the crew as they start to wake up, James and Rollman, give me another save, please.
All right.
I wish I would have gotten that 21 then.
Well.
That was an 8.
Oh, you're still asleep.
As the two of you continue to sleep through the morning, as you sit out front or out where as the crew or as the chef kind of works away, you look about and you watch as your crew is now 4 giants shorter or less. There seem to be the 2 that you had seen with the yellow eyes seem to be nowhere about, and you do not see Reggie, as well as the other giant that assumedly or would have been replaced with him.
Damn.
But as
Actually,
yes.
I want to go check the rooms of the dead giants, because if they put eggs in James...
Yeah, as you head up, which room are you going into?
I'll start with Reggie's.
As you head up, looking in there, you see as Reggie's body seems to be laying there completely. His stomach slightly seems to be moving about. His chest is not moving up and down any longer.
Okay. So I can tell the things are in his stomach. I'm gonna close the door as I walk in. It's time for some. I'm gonna call it surgery. I'm gonna use his stomach as arrow practice.
Damn.
All right.
I don't want these things fucking repopulating while we're here.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll to see if you can hit him. He does have an AC still while he's laying down, so.
No. 17.
That does hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Right. 13 damage.
As you shoot one after another arrow into the body, you watch as the 4 or 5 squirming little objects seem to get pierced one after another. The little creatures seem to stop moving as you plunge your arrows in. As the 5th arrow goes in, you watch as the squirming stops. The arrows stop moving in their macabre way, and the body seems to almost deflate slightly even more.
Uh, 3 more.
As you pull, are you taking your arrows back out, or are you leaving them there?
Yeah, I'm taking my arrow back.
Okay.
I only have so many.
As you pull your arrows out, the squelching sounds and the slight bodies kind of sticking and pulling off with with inside the stomach of the body. You watch as the skin kind of almost pulls with the arrows for a moment before it gives way, outlining the bodies of these spider-like creatures before they would shrink down. As you kind of head back out, looking to the rooms, you head to the two of the other rooms that you had, or that Rollman had mentioned or had pointed out towards when the crew had gone to bed. And as you kind of head over in the area, you open the doors, and both of the rooms seem to be empty, as if they haven't been slept in. The third one seems to be the same way as well.
Oh. That's probably not good. Okay. I'm assuming the two that weren't something because those were the original faces that we killed, but that's concerning. Nothing to do about it now.
Alright. As you kind of head back out to the group, I would say that James and Rollman at this point, as the two of you finally come to consciousness, the slight smell of vomit in the air. You both find yourself in the dark room, candle unlit, as it almost lights a few seconds later as the two of you kind of awaken. The smell of cooking meat kind of carrying on the air.
Roman gets up immediately and shakes James. I look at him. Does he look rotten?
As you smell him, he smells like he's rotten. But as you look him up and down, you look at his teeth. They're normal colored, slightly yellowed, but that's normal. His eyes are clear. As you kind of pull his eyes open to the very annoyance to James, who's now like staring Rollman right in the face.
James, what's my name? Full name.
Rollman, it's too early for this. I feel like I nearly died.
Good enough. Then I'll draw him back down. I'm
I didn't know
walking
your
out.
name was I look like I nearly. I feel like I nearly died. That's a name.
Yeah. You see, I look like that sometimes. You know, it's fitting. I'll go out and I'll look around.
James holds up a hand real quick before you walk out. Your last name's fucking Guntos.
You said it wrong.
I don't care right now. Oh.
I'm walking
James
out and I'm
snaps
scanning.
Cast prestidigitation to clean himself up in the room.
Yeah, you cast it, and you watch as the vomit, though, does not seem to get affected. It seems to stay there. The spell almost seeming to have no effect bouncing off of it. As Rollman heads
If I'm
out...
cleaned up, I'm fine.
Yeah, you're other than the vomit slightly on your beard that you'll have to wipe out. But as
I'll
you
snap again because I have this for an hour. I'll clean it out of my beard specifically.
as you do, you watch as the spell once again fails.
Why is my beard suddenly magical?
I didn't say your beard was magical. I just said the vomit did not disappear. As you head out into the crew, or out into into the main cabin, the cook looking at you as you come out, Rollman, you look about and you count four less crew members. Noticing Reggie specifically being gone as one of the more notable, you see that three others don't seem to even have come downstairs. As Essa comes out of the fourth and final room, looking out to the crew, I imagine.
My cursed primitive.
As you do,
Dwarvish.
you see as the chef kind of looks at you and then looks over at James and hands James a piece of cloth to wipe his face and looks over at Rollman and goes, breakfast?
I'll just take a plate as I'm looking around and checking every single crew member.
As you walk around, they all look to be normal. So most of them seem unaffected, but though they seem to be kind of whispering about what happened last night, where the four missing crew members are.
James, remembering Reggie's last advice, is just gonna keep his mouth shut and wipe his beard off, eat a little breakfast slowly.
Alright. As you kind of enjoy some breakfast, sitting there watching as the rest of the other crew kind of gathers together to eat. Kazasi comes down, stretches, yawns, and kind of comes down the stairs.
He look rotten?
He does not. He looks to be normal as he does so.
I walk to him up pretty seriously, very awake, and just look at him. Faceless stalkers attacked last night. Check your crew.
Oh, is that what that was? Wait, you don't put words on your crew? Oh, he kind of yawns and goes, "Oh, my crew have belts on them. Those symbols will go off if it's a monster's nearby. Don't you guys have something like that?"
Not for the whole crew.
Warnings are very useful. You should really use them. I appreciate you doing your job. We'll make sure to pay you for your lost crew members, of course, as is expected. Oh, these things happen. As he kind of shrugs and goes and grabs a plate of breakfast.
James makes a mental note to set money aside for Reggie's family.
As you kind of do so, Rollman, Essa, and James, you kind of gather together sitting at one of the little side tables as breakfast is kind of served. Chef kind of looks at you a lot and smiles as he seems to go and try and entertain Kazasi and the rest of his trading group, giving you guys your kind of space to talk and handle whatever just happened last night. Shunyet awkwardly kind of sits up on on one of the benches and seems to start licking away at a bowl of food, kind of stealing every once in a while a small piece from S's plate.
James, after the experience last night, James would not feel that hungry. He would peck at his food, but eventually just slide it over to Shanya.
She will gladly, as the drilling mutt, will grab the bone and start tearing into it, chewing very loudly. Loud enough, thankfully, almost cover a lot of what you guys are talking about as you start to enjoy what is little breakfast you have.
Essa did fine. Countless comrades die in combat. This is no different.
Roman's gonna start. So, James, give me a rundown. What happened before your alarm went off, or where you set off an alarm?
That was the sonic burst spell, my friend, and I woke up, there was 2 figures in my door. I waited just a moment and they vanished from sight and were on top of me. One was on top of me and shoved something down my throat.
That was eggs.
That doesn't make me feel much better.
I imagine at that comment, James slightly turns a little green. Go ahead.
They presumably gone, I assume.
If not, then whatever stomach acid I have may have gotten the less lively ones if there was more than a few.
I'm sure things designed to go down your stomach would die to stomach acid.
I don't know right now. I'm just a little shaken. We lost 4 good people today.
It's a shame. But it happens. Just gotta make it not happen next time.
Yes, looks like I'll be spending some time designing some alarms for them.
Yes, just about to mention. Might be able to purchase them off of...
Well, sadly right now, the person with all the funds is not me. Slowly looks to Essa. We let someone sell all of our stock, and we have not been given the partial of it.
I haven't been asked to. I've been carrying it.
Thank you.
Also, one of the 4 faces from last night is unaccounted for. So.
I checked their crew. They're all good.
I'm assuming it ran off. When people were replaced, I only found 3 bodies.
For the future, I was told during our watch by the cook that what those are faceless stalkers. They can mimic anybody. Supposedly it's the one they last infected, apparently. But the only way to tell that they're fake is that they look a bit rotten.
I guess we'll keep a special eye out for that.
I will correct that, only because I know Grumpy didn't intentionally do this. What the chef said is they only show rot if they're mimicking creatures that are large or bigger, because they are a medium creature. Meaning that mimicking James, the only reason you noticed something was because of the what you assume was the recentness, as well as the damage you had done to the James almost immediately.
Also, there was another James laying on a bed behind him.
Yep.
But so just for your own note, yeah.
If they mimic any of the crew, they'll show rot. If they mimic one of us, they'll show nothing.
Well, if they try to mimic me, I think Shunkiet will,
You have a guard constantly. You're fine.
Also, I think Shunkiet will smell the difference if I do get replaced.
Shunya wags her tail at that and continues chowing down heavily.
There's also a noise from the... Was the noise also from the James?
Yes.
Mimic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's also a noise that you can look out for.
Buzzing, I'm guessing, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Good to know. Part of the
Yeah.
payment that we'll receive for at least Reggie, if not a majority of it, will go to his family forever back in Herm's last hold.
I'll just nod and I'll eat my food.
All right. As you lot begin to gather your things, kind of finishing up your food, Kezasi looks to you lot and goes, "So shall we get back on the road, gentlemen?"
Of course.
Yeah, how is the weather looking outside? As I'm also checking the mules and listening for buzzing.
As you go into the stables, kind of pulling all the mules out, you don't hear any buzzing, nor do you see any like strange any marks or any notes. Other than the fact that BK is slightly thinner, as he's not getting his usual 20 servings a day that the chef would give him. He is starting to lose slight weight.
I give him a
Good.
carrot.
No, stop.
He is
He's
at
my
this
boy.
point, by the way, at half movement speed currently. For his weight.
I'm only giving him a single carrot.
No, I
That's
know.
fine.
That's fine. Yeah, I'm just letting you know from when prior to. This is his first time moving around in a while. But as you come out, you notice none of the wagons, none of the other creatures seem to have any noticeable marks. As Kezasi and his crew seem to get up onto their wagons and kind of get ready. He looks back at you lot and goes, "So, yeah." And as you kind of look out, James, you do see the sun slightly, a little bit of cloud. It's an overcast coming in and letting the sun peek through. The clouds though are white. Though in the distance, in the north where you're heading currently, you do see more storm clouds coming. Yet even just as thick as the last ones.
Well, let's mount up and go. I'll say my prayers as I get everything taken care of, and that way I have my spell slots back.
Okay.
But
Yeah, as you lot gather on, Rollman, are you taking up yet once more a same thing as last time, going around, kind of checking on the crew and marching with them?
Yep.
James is on the cart, and then Essa is going out with Shun yet and going kind of scouting around the area?
Yep.
Alright, and James? Yep.
keep within the 150 foot. That's all I'll say to Essa at this point.
Okay. As you lot begin to head out, as the day begins, the morning of, we will end session there. We'll pick up next time, right at the start of the day. We thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.